Yeah.
I
I
thought
I'll
I
click
thought
on
he
that.
played. Huh,
Yeah,
I thought I
playing
remembered
on
him.
Betonline now. NL25. I
Possible.
started after a huge poker break, which I had for 5 years or more. I don't know. And I actually used to play Zoom games, but BetOnline doesn't have running Zoom games on NL25 and Plus. So I'm back on the regular games, which is kind of weird for me, but it's fine as well. I have a pretty exploitative background, so I yeah was not taking care of G2O in the past. I was only playing exploitive, which was okay. But I think this is a part which kind of fucks up sometimes my game. I want to see that, and CG will look at that as well when I have the coaching. But now I'm pumping up 6 tables since I'm not used to play 4 and play that slow. So I play 6. I try to not table select as much since I want to have a flow. And let's see when those games start and how we get those games running.
I'm gonna just fast
Is
forward a
this
bit
a?
until we get some tables up.
This is funny. I think I know this guy. Does I wonder if he has a picture of Escobar
Here we
as
go.
his avatar? Oh
On
no, never
BetOnline, he
mind.
seems to be called I am Zlatan
No, never mind.
1337.
I'm
So
thinking
is
of a
Zlatan
different guy.
Ibrahimovic fan though, shout out.
Does he
Uh,
play on ACR as well? I feel like I recognize a similar name. Interesting. I wonder if he
he's
does.
not here, so we can't ask him, but I guess you can direct some questions at him in the chat, and whenever he shows up, he'll appear if you like. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just gonna fast forward until we get some actual
Play a
action.
little bit tighter.
Okay. Seven's on the button, that's some action.
Playing tighter ranges like GTO Wizard recommends
Or not.
because I figured out like
Is he one tabling or is he trying to open up? Is it just tables not running?
He said in the intro he was gonna try and open up 6 tables.
So,
No. Okay.
is this recording? Like, is this something he'll watch later?
Yeah, I think Krieg's recording this.
Yeah,
right?
I'm recording right now.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna say first that if he's at really playing 6 tables on Bet Online, I can't imagine that's gonna be very good because your time bank is so short on the site.
6 reg tables, Jar.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good thing at all. I think that because the time bank's so small, and then like, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole, but if your skill level's only as good that you can handle 25 and L, like I highly recommend not playing 6 tables at once. I would do 4. Because like
It's a
when I
possibility. I mean, he explained in the intro that he used to play Zoom primarily until he took a 5-year poker break and he's just come back.
yeah, but
So not
so
sure. We can always watch the recording and then make a judgment after, right? Sum everything up for.
yeah, when I play on this site, I play for maximum, and I usually play 4 blitz tables at a time, and I can't handle more than 4 tables on this site. It's just so fast paced.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't recommend 6 tables.
I have a different.
Yeah, I mean the lines are going down pretty fast, so I can see that.
Out of 50.
Yeah, I wouldn't do more than 4.
King 4 suited is only a call, a very low frequency 3-bet is like 10%, and we had 26. Here in the bottom is the.
Yeah, so you have 10
Oh,
seconds
so-
before your time bank activates, and then you have like a 14-second time bank or something like that.
That's insane. That's ridiculous.
You
Yeah.
can probably play reg tables like that unless they're short-handed. Short-handed might be tough.
Yeah, I don't know. 6 is a lot on this site.
Yeah. So he has the RNG at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So just if something seems strange, it might be an RNG play, just a full disclosure.
On this free Eurogin, that's the table selection thing.
Calling seems good.
Or it coordinates your table on the screen, let's say, which is kind of handy. is for free now, and yeah, here we just play check with showdown value, and
Can't value
this
bet.
kind of guy is a pretty nitty.
You value bet there?
By the way,
No, I
Well,
said can't value bet.
no.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
seems
think
very
I would
reasonable.
agree. I think it's a check.
Yeah, yeah.
because this is kind of a aggressive, straightforward player.
It's interesting.
So I think the call might be a little dicey. He could be value betting a better king.
I don't think you can value bet a better king here.
I would
King
imagine
X,
we're
you can
supposed to be.
definitely bet.
This is probably a frequency call. I would imagine. I
We're
imagine we're mostly
bluff catching. We're bluff catching with reasonable-ish blockers. The 4 isn't great. The king is excellent, of course. I'd rather call a 3, honestly,
Yeah, that makes
than
sense.
this.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Or something like
Okay.
maybe like Queen 10 maybe works pretty well as a call.
Queen 10 reasonable as well. Both 3x and Queen 10 make sense also as bluff raises. But don't think. Do we call this? Could be fine as a frequency call. I don't love the 4 though. He can have a decent amount of bluffs from his 4x. You know, this is a very high EV run out for him, but he can definitely have some, 5-4, Queen 4, Jack 4 type stuff getting into this line.
What are his? I assume the pink thing is the tag, right? Does he mention
Well, he
these tags?
said it was a tight.
Yeah, he said he was a bit of a tighter player, so then fold for sure. Yeah.
And yeah,
That
those
is
are the
fair enough.
non-bluffy types. This is a bad rack here. He has either shit ranges, does stupid stuff, but mainly shit ranges. And all the colors I will explain when they pop.
Yeah, I think 6 tables is too much on this
So
site.
quickly can get those tables run in. It's not Zoom. Zoom would run instantly, but this is, yeah. This is slow. I have to get used to that. I'm impatient when it comes to this. So we are an MP. We're facing a 3-bet from out of position. King Queen offsuit is a fold. We don't, on my range, we don't 4-bet it at all against small blind. Let's see if we do it versus big blind. No, not on big blind as well. I think MP is very tight. Don't wonder why I sometimes fold hands you would probably open, because my range is tighter now, especially in early position and middle position. Cutoff loosens up, and it kind of is similar to the 50 range, but all the early positions
We might speed it up a little bit
Shut
until
down
we
a
run into
little
some
bit.
action.
Yeah, the commentary is not super.
Riveting.
Yeah, we don't. I think it's
Pre-flop
good.
range commentary is tough to make riveting.
I don't know this
Riveting
guy.
comment.
Expect to
Yeah,
be,
I can talk.
expect him to be a bad player.
Is he supposed to be
7-6
betting?
deuce. This is
I don't
blind
know if
versus
he-
blind.
This big though on the flop? Really?
Blind versus blind is interesting. If it was button versus big blind, this is very, very standard. Blind versus blind, 7-6 deuce. If you're not playing, this is probably reasonable. Yeah, I think you could play both a small bet and a big bet. It might just be small bet or check. That's possible.
That's what I'm thinking. I would imagine it's more so. Let me see. I'm looking up on GTO Wizard right now. A7 off. Yeah, I mean you're mixing sizings, but it wants to play mostly a small bet or check.
In terms of range,
In terms of your range, you're playing mostly a small bet or check as well. But
okay,
it's
that's
mixed. There's
interesting.
some
My suspicion is which ranges are you looking at on Wizard?
I'm probably looking at the 50 now. Let me recheck the.
Yeah, but which version of it? 50.
As in like 2.5x or what? Like kind of. One sec. I'm checking.
I'm just curious if it has anything to do with the limping range. Hang on, it's showing that
Okay,
same
I'm
screen,
playing.
right?
I'm playing general. General 100 big blind and L50.
Okay. Hang on, I'm just gonna switch my screen share to this window. So this is what 7-6 deuce rainbow blind versus blind in the 500 NL simple, so no limping range looks like. And yeah, we're splitting into a small size, but our main size is just 70% if we're gonna bet high frequency check that we're checking 76% of our range. And
Yeah, that
A7
makes
very
sense.
high frequency
So what-
bet, which
So what
makes
happens
sense as
when
well.
what happens when we check and he bets small? Are we ever raising this hand? Probably not, huh?
Probably a lot. I would suspect a lot of raises.
Yeah, I think
Check and
I would
split.
like to say.
Yeah,
I think we're
depending on
raising too.
suits, but we're raising over half the time.
Well, think about it this way: like, what does he have that's really? I mean, he has sixes. He has maybe some combos of 7-6 when we block that. He has twos.
He has sevens,
really doesn't have
and the only
much that's
overpairs he
beating.
have is 8s and 9s. That's the point, right? Low frequency 8s and 9s, because most overpairs just 3-bet. So very, very strong. Yeah. It's also a hand that makes sense to rush money in, right? You need tons of protection. Or equity, you benefit a ton from equity in all rather. And it's a strong hand, makes a lot of sense. Oh, hang on. I need to switch this recording back, right? Or is it showing you the Chrome window?
It's showing.
Oh, okay, that did work.
But no, we can't hear him.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, hang on. Okay, now you should be able to hear it. So
Is he speaking right now or no?
yeah, can you hear it below?
No.
I'll turn up my volume a little bit on my PC, maybe that will help. Now?
No.
Nope.
I can't hear him now.
Seriously? God damn it. How about now?
No.
No.
Well, I'm screen sharing that window, so I have no clue what's going on then. Or no,
I
it's
mean,
my
it
screen.
doesn't-
Oh, right, this application. Hang on, no, this should do it. Now?
You check, they fuck up.
Yeah.
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 Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, got it. Sorry, I'm very new to Discord. I'm still trying to work on this. Hang on. So what happens here? He checked.
Notably-
Oh, yeah. He checks.
Because
Sure.
once you check, they fuck up. Oh. And yeah,
Not a great turn for a range at all. Makes a lot of sense.
I do it for value.
I don't think you're raising. I don't think you're raising here. I think this is too ambitious.
I think this is too ambitious too. When he goes small, it's almost close, but I think this is just too ambitious. I mean, I agree with him. The 3, definitely not a great card for our range. Checking is reasonable. Barreling's reasonable too, though. This hand just doesn't make a lot of sense to stick the money in with.
Yeah, I just don't understand what at this point, right? If we're looking at a raise as like because we're raising, right? We're saying we have stronger value than villain, but what's really calling that we're beating? Like, is he calling a 6 in a raise? Is he?
When we
Right.
bet small, when he bets small and we raise, yeah, I'd assume he'd call a 6. But
It's just hard to find like hands that we're beating that he calls, especially because we have the 7 of diamonds. Like, maybe I'd prefer to do without the 7 of diamonds, to be honest.
yeah, that's reasonable too. I mean, I don't know how many hands we have or he has that are actually beating us, because if he is splitting turn sizes, he'll have a big size as well, right? So this is going to be a little bit weaker. But this still does seem ambitious, especially with the 7 of diamonds. It's a good point.
Check raise for value.
Yeah.
You have the 3. I'll let him bluff.
I mean, you never know. Like these guys, it could be a total fish just calling like a gut shot. You don't really know.
I'm wondering now if we're supposed to, if we raise turn and he just calls, then we're supposed to be checking back river then. Now I'm wondering.
You can't expect these guys to be making plays at like 25 and out. This guy like probably doesn't even know how to play the game. His villain.
I mean, it's thin value at this point. If we're going for value on this
Hello
one.
guys,
Hey, how you doing, Chateau?
what's up, bros?
Hey,
Not much.
I come with a friend. He's a friend. I invited in the server.
Oh, sure. Welcome. Yeah. On the river, it does seem rather close, because it is thin value at this point, right? What are we hoping to get called by? 6, weaker 7x? I could get behind a block. Is that what you're suggesting, Freecon?
Yeah, I mean we're not going huge here because you can still have 4-5. Although I would imagine villain's raising a lot with 4-5 on the turn.
Or betting bigger on the turn with 5-4
Yeah.
as well. Yeah. And also check raising flop a lot with 5-4. Or raising flop, sorry, not check raising. But
Yeah.
raising.
Would agree.
I think a block is very reasonable on the river. We could probably jam an overpair. All of our overpairs. Yeah. 2 pairs counterfeit, right? Jamming an overpair seems fine, but
Does he have? What did he have?
block's probably best. Queen 7,
Weaker 7,
yeah,
which is fine.
it's reasonable.
This color is more that he's on the passive recreational side. So all the guys I don't know which are recreational, I give them immediately this color, the light blue one. They are recreational and mainly passive. Once I figure out they are not passive, I tag them as fish or whale.
I'm not sure why he gets a passive tag for that. I think his line with Queen 7 is perfectly fine.
I was about to say the same thing. I don't know, maybe the bet on the turn is a little weird, but I think that maybe like I feel like this hand, if anything, it makes like sense.
What, Queen 7 to take that line?
Yeah. Like I would
Yeah, it's
imagine
very
like
reasonable.
yeah, because he has value
Yeah.
that he probably wants to put some money in, but he doesn't really need to be. He's a very like linear hand. So
Could even go bigger with Queen 7 on the turn, but I think a block is going to be pretty good size for him, or a small bet. Very, very reasonable line. Yeah. Not sure
He's
how
also-
we ended up with Ace 9 off here.
we opened, didn't we?
We open. Oh, somebody's sitting out, so we open versus the big blind. That tracks. Okay.
Bro, sorry, but what is the in the detail of each windows? What is the HUD is average pot size and VPIPs and 3-bet?
Oh, the HUD that he has?
In the top left of each tables, like in the background title, like
Top left of each table?
like on the bottom left table, you have
Sure. Oh, here. Yeah, average pot size VPIP 3-bet, yeah.
the average table.
of the average table of the
I
total.
think
Right?
so. Yeah.
Okay, what is the HUD is and to not or?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Oh, okay. What is this review from?
This is Escobar's recording of 25 and L Betonline, and he's not here with us tonight.
Oh.
That's why, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay, why he's not here? Like it's
I don't know, it's Easter. Maybe he's busy.
okay.
Yeah, we're recording it.
Okay, guys.
Okay, ace nine off, bottom left, very reasonable hand to check. Right? Ace nine does
Yeah.
not want to get check raised off its equity here, really does not. You have ace high.
I mean, you could probably bet though. I mean, you don't have to check, I'm sure, with this hand.
I'm not sure how much of that makes sense unless you expect him to significantly under check raise.
Yeah, which they're probably doing it.
If that's the
I don't know.
case, that seems reasonable, but I think this hand just suffers so much versus a check raise. It doesn't make much sense to me to that.
I just don't see these guys doing that very often in general. But I mean, see, this is what we were kind of talking about earlier, like 5 and L and stuff like that, 25, whatever. If you want to see bet this hand, you definitely could if you wanted to. You know
What
what I
size
mean?
would you see bet this for?
Just like a third. And then if it was like an 8, I mean, if it was like a 7, a jack, a queen, an ace, whatever, you could see bet the turn, or you could barrel the turn if you wanted to. It's
Maybe
like,
oh, sorry,
it's-
go ahead.
it's up to you because these guys aren't check raising enough. So, or you could like see bet the flop, and if they don't fold, then you could check the turn and just realize your equity,
Well,
and then
hold on,
a lot of.
Oh, go ahead, now finish.
Well, and then these guys, they make it to the river. Some of them make it to the river with junk, and they don't even bluff the river. So you could just check it down, and sometimes you win with ace high. Like these are little exploits you can do if you want to at the micro stakes. You don't have to if you don't want to,
Yeah.
but these are.
That line is much better in overall in every spot. Yeah,
What's that?
the line that you mean c bet flop and check back turn.
Yeah, like even with ace high hands, those are like decent hands to do it in. Because if you're in a really passive pool, you know,
That's
maybe he'll float with a king.
Yeah,
You know
this,
what I mean?
this necessitates a passive pool because ace nine with two, you have the possibility to turn two open-ended straight draws, right? This is a very high equity hand that can't call a check raise. So this doesn't make much sense to bet if you're expecting to get check raised at least some amount of the time.
Well, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. These guys aren't check raising enough. So
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I could
Even
get
if
behind
you're-
a c-bet under that assumption that they're under check raising. But if that assumption isn't correct, then I think a c-bet is disastrous.
Well, I also just think that this hand, like as you said, I would prefer to be betting if I'm betting with an ace high hand with something that has like literally no equity. Like if you're by your logic, right? Like let's take something like ace three offsuit. Like
Oh, I'd
he's
love to
gonna
bet ace three offsuit on this flop.
Right?
One back to
Yeah,
a
that's what I'm
straight
saying.
draw. Perfect hand. I think I'd probably overbet ace three off pure on this flop.
Really? Okay, I
Love
wouldn't
it.
take that line, or at least I wouldn't find it. But the point that I'm making is like even going back to like to your point. Okay, they can be like calling with king X, queen X, whatever. Like if they're doing that, then why don't we pick ace highs that like have a lot less? Because like the nine, you've some like open ended like cards that can give you straights and stuff, like ace three, ace four, even ace five, stuff that like really is just like shite.
well,
Like why not
probably-
just
Although
bet with
again,
those
the
hands?
only thing that makes c-betting this a disaster, right? The reason we'd rather c-bet those lower hands like ace three, ace four, ace five on this flop than ace nine is the fact that when you c-bet ace three, ace four, ace five, and then he check raises and you fold, it's fine, right? When you c-bet ace nine and then he check raises and you fold, it's bad. That is bad. That is a lot of equity to fold.
So these guys too, you have to realize that at the micro stakes, this isn't like for every villain at the micro stakes. I'm just saying this. It's possible that this guy could have something like, you know, king seven, queen seven, or whatever, king three suited, whatever, and then you see bet small and he folds that, as opposed to you checking the flop and then he turns a queen in terms of pair. You know what I mean?
What are the odds of him? Like the odds are so low of him like turning a pair.
In every
like,
spot at this stage, it's every time better c-bet on the flop to
I
deny
agree,
the
c-betting
equity.
this hand can be fine. I want to make it clear that it's under the
Even
assumption that
ace-9
you're
is
getting
okay,
under
man.
check raised. If you're getting
But
under
the
check
fact
raised,
is,
it's
it's always better to deny the equity of your opponent.
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah,
But
that's
why
what
is
I'm
that the
saying.
case? It's better to deny equity if he's
Because
not
if you check
denying the
back,
equity from you, right?
Take an example. If you have, by example, king 7, okay, you check
Yes.
back and the king appear on the turn.
okay,
Yeah.
but what about if any
Let me
other
give you
card?
another
Let's say
example, though.
any other
No,
card.
let's
The
stick to
fact-
the king 7. Let's stick to the
The
king
fact
7,
is,
okay?
the fact
Or
is,
here's
we are
another
looking
example, though.
for overall for every spot that you will
Yeah.
play like that,
Yeah,
In
but for
overall,
Ortel, here's
every
another point
spot,
about on that note. Let's say he
in
has king
overall
7,
every
right?
spot you deny equity is always better.
Well, it's
Denying
not- it's
equity
not
is important,
always
but here's the
better.
thing. Let's say he
Right.
has king 7, right? We
Yep.
see bet. He's a good thinking regent. He goes, okay, I know this guy's over. C-betting king 7 is already a threshold hand. I'm going to check raise. And then we fold ace 9. Disaster.
There is sometimes
Yeah.
Right,
you
but
have
he's
to
denying
defend
our
the
equity.
check raise with nothing too. Because if you
Oh.
You can't
if you
just
see
start
it fold,
defending ace 9 to a check raise.
yes, you
So
can
much-
float. You can
This is too
float.
weak. This is too weak to call to a
Yes,
check
it's
raise.
very weak, but you have a plan. So the fact is, you will not play for SI for your showdown with SI. The plan is for the check raiser. You will just c-bet call. After that,
Yeah,
you will probably
hold
bet
on.
again turn,
How much
and
of a
so you will
read
call
do you
again.
need for
And
that,
after
though?
that, on the river, he will never
Yes,
bluff
but how
again.
much of a read do you need for that, though? You need to understand that this guy is definitely going to be check raising air and then barreling turn and then checking river and folding river. You
Yeah,
need
I think he
such
will
an
never check
incredible
raise
read to understand
air.
that.
I agree. I also
I
think
think
that,
he will
like,
check raise,
hold on.
well, not pure air, but some, backdoor straight draw hands.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
But then you can't
So-
just call under the assumption that you will then be able to bluff a later street always.
Yeah, but also, I mean, it's hard for us to, even if we do, like, let's say we know that he's also check raising air. Like, let's say we know
Which
he's
is
a check
fine. He
raising.
should check raise some king 7 on
And
this flop.
let's
Very
sure,
reasonable.
and let's say that's fair. And let's say we know he's doing that. Let's say even we call like against a hand like king 7. How there's so like what like there's only a couple of turns that we can really continue on. There's the ace, the 7, and there's the jack. Are we really continuing on like a 3? Like
What, like
a big
barreling?
bet with a 3? Like
You're
we're not
talking about
continuing with
barreling,
ace
or-
9. Yeah, if he barrels the turn, there's just not many stuff we can
Oh,
just
well,
not continue with.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So what the guy was saying earlier, it's beneficial to deny equity because it's true at most pools in the micro stakes because these guys are calling with ridiculous hands and they're not check raising. So yeah, I think it is good to deny equity.
You got to be careful though. If they're calling, it's not denying equity, right? Because denying equity implies that they're folding out, that you're folding out equity. If they're calling, that just means you're value betting. You're value betting versus king 7.
But sometimes you turn a pair or you river a pair that's higher than theirs.
It doesn't matter. You're betting a better hand, right? So you're value betting versus king 7.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, you can think of it like that. Yeah.
So
If they're
I don't know
calling
who.
It's a value bet. It's not equity enough.
I think it depends on the pool that you're playing in, because if you're in a pool with a bunch of fish that are V-pipping very high in general, then you can just see bet 100% if you wanted to, because they're going to fold a lot.
Assuming
Especially,
they're under check raising you, then yes.
yeah.
So Nohen, tell me, tell us in this what do you think is better to do?
At these stakes.
I actually don't have a preference, right? I don't play on Betonline. I don't know the pool. I don't know the players. The point I'm trying to make is, without a read, if I think this guy will check raise me sufficiently, I want to check this back.
You want to
If
check
I-
back? You think is better?
I think a check back is better under the assumption that he is going to check raise me sufficiently. If he's not going to check raise me as much as he needs to, then I think a bet is fine as well. But under the assumption that he is check raising me enough, then I think a check is preferred.
So when I used to play micro stakes, my strategy that I used to use, I'm not saying it's good, but this is what I used to do. I used to see
Yes,
that
me too.
I used to see bet my ace highs like 100%, even ace king, every single one. And then I would check back hands that were like 4 or 5 suited or something like that, or maybe I would bet them and then bet the turn.
Hang on one
But
second for that.
because-
Mr. Tuna is asking us in the chat here, aren't the ace nine the best ace high combo to see bet on 10 8 deuce in theory? No. And I can share a sim. Hang on, I probably have a sim for this. Okay, I don't have cutoff versus big blind. I have button versus big blind, but it's going to be a similar principle, so it shouldn't really matter. Really? Okay. Aren't ace nine? Really? Hang on.
I mean,
It's
ace
a
nine.
proven
is-
wrong.
I'm sure about that.
Oh,
This is yes, we have more backdoor equity to bluff, but the issue is you're going to get check raised off that equity too often. There's a what's the word? There's a sweet spot for how much equity you want to be betting. That you don't need to bet fold a bunch of equity when you get check raised on, but you still have backdoors to barrel on. So like this is a sim of 10 deuce rainbow, button versus big blind. We're c-betting mainly our highest frequency c-bets of ace high are ace 5, ace 4, ace 3 combos. Because that gives us a lot of backdoor straight draws that we can barrel on, you know,
No, hang
because it's a wheel draw. Yeah?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So, game theory optimal is good to know, okay? But do you think it's better to apply it in NL25?
Well, that's the thing, right? The point I'm trying to make here is if he is check raising enough, this is not a great hand to see bet ace nine, particularly the suited combos. The
But the
offsuit
fact
combos
is,
seem to be
I don't
willing
know
to
the
see bet a bit
opponent,
more
okay?
because
No,
they're not
and
folding the equity.
the fact is, at this limit, there is nobody check raise enough.
Who's check raising you enough? Exactly, and I'm with you there. But the point I'm trying to make is we need to make an assumption that he is not check raising enough to make c betting ace nine more of a valid line. And I'm fine with that. I am fine with c betting ace nine here under the assumption that he is not check raising us enough. I just want to consciously make that assumption.
Well, yeah, because you do a lot of studying, so I feel like it's I don't know.
What are we
Like,
saying? Check raise and not enough. Like, what's the frequency? What's
in theory, versus a small bet, he's supposed to be check raising 18%.
yeah, like that's I
Something
know
like
that.
that.
What are we
But the
saying? It's not
field
enough.
actually
We're saying
doing-
we're doing like 9%.
Let's say
The
he's
field
doing
is
something
doing
like
less than
9%,
10%.
and I can get behind then c betting. Yeah, I can get behind c betting versus a 9% check raise.
I think it's more important to look at how many times are they donking instead of check raising. To be honest, and against bad players.
Well, with ace nine, I don't think that's the case because what's preventing us really from c betting ace nine is getting check raised and having to fold, right? Because this is such
That's
a nice
always
hand
what
to
it
do
is.
here.
Yeah.
So
I kinda
if
like
we don't get check raised enough, right, and he just check calls or something, we get to realize our equity and it's fine.
I kind of like what
Never
you said
donks.
earlier. That ace nine,
What do
if
you mean
you're
if you-
betting it,
Yeah.
it's kind of like a value bet in a way. Because if he is calling, there's a chance he's calling with worse hands.
Okay, hang on. Is it still showing in the pie window or is it showing the stream? Oh, it's showing on Spotify. Oh, come on. God damn it, I hate Discord. Fuck me. Okay, 1 second.
If villain is
I'm
always
trying to
checking
remember.
this flop, though, if villain is 100% checking this flop every time,
Oh,
then
he
it's
should be checking this flop here. There's no donking range here. Flop donking range here.
May I share my thoughts, borrow
Yeah,
3
yes,
minutes?
yes,
please.
Tuna.
Share my
Please.
my monitor.
Yeah, share your monitor. Go for it.
Okay. Did anyone see my monitor now?
Yes, see it.
Okay. I have studied about the cutoff of button cbet strategy of ace high combos. The most important things in this spot is that how many combos ace high combo you can fold. The better ace high combo you can fold, and the worst ace high combo you can value in most of the spots. And for example, we prefer to c-bet s5, s2, s3, s4 more than s6, s7 because about 25% of villain's combo will be as high, 20 to 25 in most of the situation.
Sure.
If bottom versus big blind, and in cutoff versus big blind will be about 18 to 22% ace high combo. So the most of the important thing when we consider of c-betting ace high, we want to fold better ace high and value worse ace highs. So we prefer to c-bet worse ace high in this situation. For example, if we c-bet ace high, ace deuce, and we will fold villains.
Pair. It's a bad example.
Oh, sorry. S3. So if we c-bet S3, we can fold villains S4, S5, S6, S7, and S9. But if we c-bet S7, we only can fold the worst S high than our combos. So we do not prefer c-bet S7 in this situation. But another factor will affect this kind of c-betting S high will be the straight draw or the flush board. For example, the 10 S deuce will be we will choose S9 for the higher frequency combo to c-bet because we can double barrel on the 7 or jack or even queen on the 10.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value in that at these stakes. Being able to
10 deuce, if you c-bet and he raises, what happens with ace 9 off?
Yeah, so we prefer to c-bet king 9 off more than s9, but the 9x combo will be the most frequency combo we want to be semi-bluff.
Well, 9x makes sense because we have a lot of backdoors. We don't have very much showdown value, and bet folding some of our 9x makes a decent amount of sense. You know, it's not that bad to bet fold queen 9 here. Or actually, queen 9 is going to continue. Sorry, it's not that bad to bet fold king 9. Queen 9 and jack 9 can all continue, right?
So we can back call jack 9 and queen 9. So
and queen 9. King 9 is not as bad to bet fold. Ace 9 is pretty bad to bet fold.
No. We
can continue ace 9 in this set.
Yeah. If versus the small raise, we can continue ace 9 with backdoor.
Ace 9 backdoor. Okay.
Yeah. So in this situation, we want to c-bet queen 9 and jack 9 because we can face check raise, but king 9 we want to fold. So we want to c-bet king 9 at the very high frequency because we can easily to fold for king 9 and s9, and we want to continue queen 9 and jack 9. So at this situation, c-betting s9 and king 9 were better than queen 9 and jack 9 because we can
call a check raise.
Yeah.
No, queen 9 and jack 9 you can call a check raise. King 9 cannot.
So that makes a lot of sense, but I do want to say though at the micro stakes that if people are check raising you in general, it's going to be much stronger than say 50 blitz.
The theory, yep.
Yeah.
Which is going to also lead to the fact that we're not going to continue as much, right? And we're going to get check raised less. Because if they're not check raised bluffing us, their overall check raise frequency will go down.
No. If you're getting check raised less, and you should be betting more.
Well, we should be c-betting flop more.
And then you should be
less.
You should probably be folding more.
You just overfold. Yeah, you just overfold a little bit. I mean, on a 10-8 deuce board, you get check raise, and you have.
You have jack 9, you can call, but like
of course,
like queen 9.
You can call on your gut shot. But when you have like king 9, ace 9, can you call that? That's getting very
ace
close.
9. Nah, I'm whipping it with ace 9. I'm seeing a turn.
With ace 9, let's say ace 9 no backdoor flush draw.
Yeah, no. I mean, obviously
the micro stakes.
Right, that's getting very close, and it's a lot of equity to fold.
And the third reason to c-bet s9 on the flop will be better than s6, s7 will be that we block villains check raise combos a lot. So
That is relevant, yes.
Yeah, that's huge.
So there are three reasons. First, we want to fold better S high and value worse S high. That's the main
Exactly.
reason. And the second reason is we want to make better backdoor equity, like straight draw equity on the turn, so we can double barrel bluff. So we often choose the most connected S high with the board. The third is that since we choose the most connected one, we can block villains check raise range a lot. That's the three main reasons that as choosing S high C betting on the most of the flop on for most of the situation based in
Yeah.
DP defense.
And when you're folding out better ace highs, there's a lot of value in that. But like,
They're not folding out that many better ace highs with ace nine versus a small c bet. They're going to continue any two over cards like ace jack, ace queen.
It's not that small.
when you barrel the turn, that's when they start to fold. But you got to remember though that these guys are playing micro stakes. The guys at 50 blitz are going to be way tougher than.
I think the strategy works at microstakes from.
Well, yeah,
experience.
I think it could too. I'm just saying, like, whatever you also have to adjust to the pool because sometimes you have fish that just, call. Sometimes you have fish that just like overfold on the flop. You have to kind of like, you have to pay attention and realize what kind of fish you're dealing with.
Tuna, what's the difference between cutoff and hijack strategy in this spot? I'm curious. I don't think it's that much different.
Yeah.
We were on cutoff.
Is higher.
We were on cutoff. Awful.
No, I know. I'm saying, what's the difference between cutoff and hijack? I'm saying position. Like if you were in the hijack in this exact same spot, how much different does your play change? I don't think it's that much different.
Yeah, not that much different between S high combos. And for example, if like something like it's maybe button versus something like this, we can use the same
idea, heuristics.
Yeah. For example, like this spot, and if we c bet as king, we are c betting for value because because villains should call S10. Yeah, S10, S jack, S queen, he should be defend, and even S8, S6, S4, some hands.
Pretty much all of his aces. The reason behind that is when it's a higher equity board for the big blind, he can continue wider because he's going to be able to overrealize his equity since you won't be able to barrel as aggressively.
And this kind of board, there is something interesting. Yeah, we cannot see bet S6 that often because we want to see bet more S8 because we can fold some of the S9 and we can still value S6 and S4. But if we see bet S6, we will be value ourselves because people will call S9, S10, S jack, S queen. There are some difference. I just claim that there are three reasons. One of value worse and fold better. The second one is connected one. But in this kind of board, the first reason will be most important one. I just make another example to explain. The most important thing is to fold better and value worse as highs.
I think using these strategies at micro stakes will totally work. I think they're good. But like, what's going to make you the most money is identifying the type of fish that you're playing against.
Yeah.
You said, sure. Excuse me, you said applying the game theory optimal in micro-mid is what?
This kind of strategy will work because you're,
of course, it's always working. The fact is, you will not win big money by applying the theory in micro.
Yeah, sometimes you're against it. Sometimes
there's a bit of a misconception there between applying theory, right? Because how are you applying theory? An equilibrium strategy is just two players trying to maximally exploit each other, right? That's the whole point of theory.
But the fact is, knowing the theory is very good, okay? But applying it in this limit is crazy. Simply crazy.
Yeah, so I think
you're always applying theory, right?
No. I'm always for myself. I always working the theory to know what the solver preferred. Okay, But let me tell you, okay, I just play poker back since 1 month and 1 week. Okay, I just come back in poker. I started back in NL25 to NL50, and I have already enough to play NL200. The
So
fact
when
is,
I
I
play-
never ever applied theory. Even against regular, they are too weak.
So it depends on
You
the
are
type
applying
of people
theory,
you're
though.
playing
I'm
against.
not applying
So-
theory does not mean copying a solver, right? That's not applying theory, that's copying something. Applying theory means understanding the underlying principles of what is going to push you to play a certain strategy or another strategy.
Yeah.
And then following that. That's what applying theory is, right?
So like
That's
when
it,
I
yes.
was playing 10 and 0, I literally had 100% c-bet strategy. And
That's, yes, in general, at this point, it is better.
yeah, I used that strategy for 2 months at 10 and 0, and I was averaging over the 2 months $150 profit a week with 100% c-bet strategy.
And it's very reasonable under certain assumptions. The only thing I'm trying to push is make sure that you're crafting a strategy that fits the assumptions that you're creating, right?
Yeah, so it depends
So
on
when
the-
we have the assumptions in this spot with ace-9 that he's under check raising, c-betting this is reasonable. I'm just saying, make a conscious decision. I think this guy is under check raising, therefore this hand makes sense to c-bet, so I will c-bet this hand.
Yeah, and I'm
This
not-
guy or any other guy at this limit. The fact is, if there is only one guy check raising and at this limit, the fact is you will not see him long time at this limit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Probably in 1 week or 2 weeks you will move up.
But make that conscious decision, right? That's all I'm trying to argue for here. Make
Yeah,
the conscious decision that
depends.
is why you're doing what you're doing, and then follow through.
So it depends too, because sometimes you play in a pool that has hyper aggressive fish, and there's just a lot of them. So like 100% c-bet strategy
It's disastrous.
that might not work. So it depends on you have to pay attention and you have to tag the fish as like
That's
passive
exactly what I'm saying,
or
JR.
aggressive. Yeah.
Make your assumption and then craft your strategy for that assumption.
Yeah. You have to identify your fish and you have to label them as aggressive or passive, or you know what I mean?
Yep, that's it. You have to apply, to adapt yourself to against who are you playing, who you play
Yeah.
against.
Yeah.
Yeah, because some
But
fish
applying
will.
the theory is a terrible mistakes at this limit.
Yeah, I think overall you want to see bet more in general.
Well, playing this
At this limit, yeah.
at any limit is a stupid idea. Just copying a solver without understanding it at any limit is a terrible idea. The whole point is you're trying to understand why it's doing what it's doing and apply that to how your opponents are playing.
Yeah, I mean, there is value in understanding why the solver does something.
All right, so on that note, do we see that ace-9? Hang on, let me make sure I'm streaming the right thing here. Sec.
So to make it more simple, we will see bet ace-9 most of the case in this spot. Just if there is someone that can put us in a complicated situation, we will prefer to check back. That's all.
Yeah,
That's exactly it. If this guy is check raising a lot, this is a bad c-bet. If he's not, this is a fine c-bet.
That's it.
That's the bottom line.
So I label my aggressive fish yellow tag. So like maybe I'll like c-bet a little bit less versus them, because they do sometimes check raise like any 2 cards or whatever just to see if you'll fold, and then usually when they do that they just check back. So you have to know the type of fish that you're playing against.
You can even go even further, right? If they're check raising too often, then the main hand that's going to suffer versus that too aggressive of a check raise is specifically the hands that have to bet fold in your very marginal hands, right? Like if this guy's check raising too much, I'm not c-betting any of my second pair because that's going to put me into a really tough spot. I'm not c-betting hands like this.
But most of the fish are going to be passive, though, in my opinion. So you're not going to get
that
too
decision,
many.
right? Make the decision of where their leak is and then exploit it. On that
Yeah,
note, do we see bet this?
I could. I'm not c-betting here. This is a flop where I barely c-bet. I could because we block. We block like 10-9, 9-8, Jack-9. All his draws, we block them. But I think he has more combos on this board, and as well, he's a tight dude. He's not bluffing at all so far.
So we did just follow that up with he's a tight dude, he's not bluffing at all, in which case the c-bet would have been reasonable on that.
Yeah, so you would want to see bet more against that kind of an opponent. And if he calls a flop, then you get a jack or a queen on the turn. You can barrel it off.
Potentially.
He is attacked,
Yeah.
plays absolute face up. Can't fold versus three bears and 3-bet pots, so he's huge in it. And I know he's not bluffing. I've shown him where you were face high, so I'm not doing shit against him.
Yeah, those are the guys you
There
want to
comes
bet.
the exploitive part. I mean, 10-8 is not a 3-bet 100%, a c-bet 100%. It can maybe be a mixed one as well. Here we have nothing on this board, so we.
Yeah, you could probably 100% see bet against those guys.
Likely, I don't know if that would be exactly optimal, the best strategy you could take, but it would be fine.
That's
Well, yeah, I mean,
lines, he stabs the turn.
It would be profitable, yeah.
Cutter versus MP, King Queen offsuit is a 50% 3-bet, but
I was thinking that 100% c-bet's a good strategy to get used to. And if
So you don't have to do the 100% c-bet
Yeah.
strategy. I'm just saying that it is a viable strategy. If you
At
can,
low stakes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a viable exploit versus a wide
against
part
Rise,
of that population.
You'd be surprised how often these guys just
Oh.
fold to a flop c-bet. It's
I'm
pretty
not
hard.
arguing. I'm just saying that sake of getting better in this game, which like most people who are playing 25 NL are trying to get better to play 50 and 100. Like, I think it's much better to like just learn the game than try to learn the exploitive bullshit that like cheeses your way through, which is fine. Like I've done all that. I think it's great to do that, but like I know, like
Yeah, I mean, it's up to you. It's
I have
up
a
to you.
close. I haven't been. I don't know. I think you can classify it as exploitative bullshit if you're not understanding why you're doing it and you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. If you
So the thing
understand why
is-
you're doing it, then it makes sense.
So the thing is like this one might not be accurate, but like if I think it's good that you're trying to learn the game. But let's say that because you're not trying to do the exploits, let's say you're stuck at, 5, 10, 25 NL or whatever, for the next 6 months, 7, 8 months, just because you're trying to learn the game and you're taking it slow. I think eventually if it did happen like that, you would get very
that doesn't work. You would leave. It doesn't work like that though. Like if you're playing right GTO poker, even at 10 NL, like maybe the best exploited play would be like overfolding the ringer.
Yeah, so like
and
what
you would
I
profitably print, like just like print money.
It took
I
me
don't know how much
18
you print money. It is a pretty high rake, but you'd be winning.
Well, that's why I think the best
So,
you
like-
can do. Yeah.
So like I'm not trying to like talk shit or anything, but like it took me 18 months to get from 5 NL to 200 NL. And then 200 NL is like is finally like the stake where like you can make significant money at. And I barely did any studying at all to get to this point. But now that I'm finally at a stake where I can make significant money, now I can step back and start really learning the game. Like, I just feel like it would be a disaster to just like spend such a long time at the micro stakes just because you want to learn the game. I don't know. Maybe I'm
Depends what you're trying to get out of it.
Seems like a
right?
cheaper way. It also seems like a cheaper way to learn the game.
It also depends what you're trying to get out of it, right? If you're just trying to understand the game because it fascinates you theoretically, it doesn't matter what stake you play, right?
Yeah, and
If you're trying to make money out of the game, then it makes a bigger difference, right?
Yeah,
like it depends on your goals.
and I'm not trying to like, hit any soft spots on anybody, or I'm not trying to talk shit or anything. Honestly, I probably just got lucky, but
Also, I should say, full disclosure, sorry Escobar for the fact that we're going so off topic so often.
He knows.
Yeah. This
He
okay,
knows.
so anyway, we're in this spot. This was okay. Bottom middle table is the interesting spot at the moment. Under the gun opens, we flat the button. Big blind overcalls. Flop checks through. Turn. Big blind stabs. I believe it was half pot, roughly half pot, around 40%. We call. River he checks to us.
So I mean,
But
nothing else to do but check, right?
Well, we'll see what he does. So she goes for the small bet in position on the river, which is a fun one. Theoretically, this doesn't make too much sense. The reason for that is you're getting very little value, and you're opening the door to be check raised.
That's
As a
it.
bluff. off
The
your
second
hand,
thing
right?
that you have to consider here is
Yeah, but
you don't know your opponent.
yeah, so he's not going to be check raising.
That's
as a
exactly
bluff.
it. So we're back to the same point. Is he going to be check raised bluffing us sufficiently or not?
No.
If he is, this is a very bad line. If he's not, this might be fine.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's true. It could be.
So we're back to that same point anyway.
RNG wise, but we had like 76, so we didn't really.
Yeah, so there you go. That was
Jack.
There you go, that's optimal, right? We get the thin
Yeah.
value versus whatever hand he has.
yeah, he could have had anything there.
16 hands.
Yeah,
I think even if it's
definitely.
this is exploitably a fold because this guy is way too face up on 4 bets, so I folded. Even if GTO says I should call, I don't. I overfold against this guy.
Yeah, like if these guys are
This is the
raising
thing
you
you
on
should-
the river in general, just fold every time.
I mean, is that regardless of the line that you're taking? What happens if it's like a, whatever.
So that
I'm not
tennis
gonna
hand
get
can have a big bone to pick with you over that.
Yeah, I think it depends on the line that we take, but
I agree. Yeah.
just keep going though. I don't really want to get off
Should I
track.
do that or not?
Alright, Queen Jack
I see that
10.
you have to see that big because it's a straight board.
Not sure about that logic. If I see
Yeah.
that here, I have to see that big.
Yeah, I
It's,
don't like that.
well, you can range bet this. The ace king advantage is so huge. I think range betting half is reasonable. I don't know if you can range bet this big theoretically. Probably fun.
This
I mean,
is super tight too.
If
Eddie
this
is
guy's if
super
this guy's
tight.
a fish, he's gonna be call any king or any nine. So I mean, it can't be horrible.
I mean, any king he probably has to call 9x. I doubt it
He's a
because there are
10,
some
right?
verse implied odds.
He's a very
No,
tight
I'm
guy.
sure he would call a nine.
Eyes up.
Yeah, but it's a reasonable line.
Just don't want to build a pot.
Yeah, it's
right?
probably fine because if you're just gonna fold to a raise, then it should be fine. I don't think he's raising much as a bluff.
Somewhat doubt you're
This
folding that to a
GTO
raise.
is, 3-bet call.
I mean, are people really raising that
I-
flop a lot?
Not unless they have the nuts.
That's a scary flop to be raising.
against him.
Yeah. What happened with yeah, the flop?
3-bet
Yeah.
call, yeah. But I hate it. Against
Well, the
him,
9-8.
especially with my reads on him so far.
This is blind versus
10
blind.
raises up on this guy. Here kind of block. I bet like 1.
Oh,
I don't know why we're betting so small.
I kind of like the one size because
Yeah, same.
these fish like to go crazy on these.
Eddie,
So
is that a
inducing
fish,
a
though?
spaz, you're saying?
These
not a
fish like to spaz out on these kind of boards.
That guy's not a fish though. So
Then I really hate this because regs
He's a
do
reg.
not bluff these spots enough at all. The thing is, it's really tough actually to find enough bluffs in these lines because you're just trying to find really good unblockers versus
no one
versus
bluffs
bluffs
this
from
one. No
the
one
opponent.
bluffs this.
Yeah, like what he's supposed to be bluffing here is he's supposed to take hands like
Yeah, no one
3
does that.
deuce suited and bluff raise this with something like 3 deuce suited, maybe even stuff like
2 pair or something.
oh no way to if you're going for this size, you can value bet 2 pair. You could probably value bet ace high for this size in a check down
Yeah.
hand blind versus blind or a pair of aces. This is just this is so small for the strength of hand you have, and I don't expect to get check raise bluffed anywhere near enough. I don't like this.
Blind versus blind single raise pot. People are not bluffing in this spot
Check
right
down
here.
to the river. This is
Yeah.
a very tough spot for a reg to bluff enough, unless it's a fish spazzing out with any two cards. But for a reg to bluff this spot enough is difficult. I don't see it happening, and this hand is super strong.
I think he should be checking or betting a lot bigger.
I'd probably go 2/3. Maybe
Yeah.
could maybe get behind an overbet. An
No,
overbet might be
66%.
reasonable as well.
66% money right here.
Yeah, 66 is a very reasonable size, but something in that realm. This is just very, very small.
So what do you think he's calling with, like an ace or something?
No, like two pair. Eddie, this guy's so tight. I mean, I just know because I played in the pool
Is
before.
just calling two pair versus this?
Yeah, he might just call it two pair here. This
Okay,
guy's
so
tight.
we forgot to mention a few things then. One, this is a bad size. We should just go bigger. But also, we should bluff any two cards in this line. We should actually bluff our ace high in this line, or our pair of aces in this line if he's just calling two pair. We should just bluff range. That is
I
disastrous.
think he calls with everything. I think
Yeah.
this guy
Yeah,
just
that
says,
makes sense.
but I think he's calling with everything.
I think if you go like, I think if
Wait,
you
what
go
do you
like
mean
half
he's
pot,
calling with everything? What is he calling on this river? What is the cutoff? Let's say if it were
Pair of
linear, what would
aces.
his cutoff hand be to call?
an ace.
Jack of hearts or higher would be a raise. Everything else is a call.
No, but what is he folding, right?
What is he folding?
Like, what is he calling? What's the weakest hand he will call in this spot?
A king.
7.
Yes,
So, okay,
any
no,
pair.
yeah, never mind. Yeah, because sorry, when you said he's calling two pair plus here, I was very,
Yeah,
very
he
confused.
just puts everything into like a calling value range. Like a lot of these like tight regs, they just when they see these kind of boards, they're just locking down at like you can't bluff me off this hand. You know what I mean? Like they're just like I think
Oh, well, he should never fold two pair to this size. He should never fold two pair to pretty much any size on this
of course not. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, but should he
think
be
if I
folding a
was-
7 sometimes?
I think if I was
versus
betting,
this versus one big blind.
Of course,
Maybe a
one big
7
blind.
with bad blockers.
I mean, the
No,
one big
not
blind
much.
bet, I don't think it's horrible. But I think if I was betting this hand, I'd probably go like half pot.
This
I think
hand
it's
is so
always a
strong. This
check.
hand has like. You think this is always a check?
I'm trying to get him to bet here.
Oh, if he's a tight reg. If he's a tight reg, is he going to be bluffing it when you
or
check?
I'm betting big for value.
I want to bet big. I don't like this
Yeah,
size. I'm with
exactly.
you on that. I just want to bet like
Yeah.
70%, something like that. Get some
Blinds,
value.
people are sticky too. People are very sticky in the blinds.
Yeah. Not sure why we bet this small.
I always do that. See what he calls with when you.
I mean, it can't be horrible.
That's why.
He just called you with two pair. It's probably a value raise. God damn it.
What you size
He had two pair, right? He had two pair.
Yeah.
Being
Yeah,
six.
I told you. I told you this guy. He's so tight.
Yeah, I don't know why you're going for one big blind there. Go bigger.
You
More
use
value.
a very small size of those boards. They are inclined to call those hands. And as well, if you know that is a guy that is overfolding, you have a very cheap bluff. Small blind versus button jack.
That part of what he said I don't mind. Having a very cheap bluff is fine. Bluffing your hands for that size is reasonable. But don't put your value in the same range.
Let's see if he changes with this. And he's 2xing for bet, so it's the second time in a row. I keep on folding. That's the part when exploitation gets re-exploited sometimes. And that's when you fuck up your mind because you think he's exploiting his back exploited. So I call between options.
They can't go down the rabbit hole.
Well, what rabbit hole?
Is he exploiting my exploit?
Oh,
That's what he's
leveling
talking
more?
about. Yeah, he's talking about leveling.
It's not as ridiculous as it seems.
If you run bad, it becomes really horrible.
Yeah, that's true. You kind of ironic. You need to keep a level ahead while getting into leveling worse.
You just have to
So what I do
expect
is I
shit's gonna go bad.
That's a low number.
Yeah.
And I get
Probably just a coincidence.
when it's higher.
Of course, no, it is. That's the fucked up part.
Yeah.
I'm
Raise!
calling.
Okay, calling's fine. But I would have preferred a raise.
What?
So,
I-
you know,
Which one would
I'm
top
curious.
Queen bottom left.
I'm curious what the solver would say there. We're really supposed to be check raising there a lot. with king high.
Versus a small bet, we've got 2 overs. We've got so many backdoor straight
Yeah, we have a
draws. We've got
backdoor straight
blockers
draw.
to.
So wait,
We've
are you
got
talking
blockers to
about
backdoor flush draws.
you're talking
Would
about
love
raise
to
the
check
flop,
raise king
right?
queen.
You're
Yeah,
talking about
would
raise the flop, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
see
I
bet
think
small. Would have loved to check raise.
I think that's viable because I think these guys are also c-betting way too much in general too. So I think
100%.
yeah, I think check raise.
What's the solver say? Dan, check the
I
solver.
don't know. I can check. Hang on.
Just do random flop. Rainbow.
What?
No.
I'll take button versus big blind, rainbow or two tone, Sims. Do I have Jack 7 deuce rainbow?
Yeah, it's like the most money flop.
Yeah, these
I
guys are.
have Jack 7 deuce. Jack
He should be
6 deuce
checking
rainbow.
this. He should be checking.
I'll take Jack 6 deuce rainbow because I want a rainbow flop. Hang on.
Yeah, so these guys at these stakes, they're going to be over c-betting too. So I think having a heavy check raise strat at these games is going to be pretty valuable. So I think what you're going to find too is if you check raise these guys, they're going to call the raise a lot, and I think if you barrel the turn, they're going to overfold the turn because they're
king queen offsuit. King queen offsuit seems very irresponsible to check raise. Here.
I like it. I like it because
with 2 backdoor flush draw blockers, we're check raising it roughly 15% of the time.
Yeah, I like
15. Yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah,
I like this.
I mean, it's reasonable to get in there, right? You have a ton of equity. You can deny equity. It's calling or raising, mainly raising, or mainly calling, but some raise. Yeah.
So
that's what I tell myself after I just like the 3 barrel and lose it all. I'm like, yeah, that's
well, don't raise and then punt this off. Raise and then you can check turn if you don't pick up equity. It's a very reasonable raise and then check turn.
Yeah, so let's say this guy, you check raise the king queen, this guy calls with a jack, and then the turn is like an 8 or a 9, and you barrel the turn.
I don't think I'm barreling on an 8. I'd barrel on a 9.
I think a lot of the time. Oh yeah, that's what I meant, like a 9 or a 10. I think a lot of the time.
If you consider check raising in this spot, I think if you want to continue barrel, all cards between the 7 and jack is very bad because it's a lot in his range. Even if you want to represent that it's more in your range, the fact is if you check raise with king high in this spot, but you are open on call, and you want to continue to barrel the card between the 7 and the jack is very bad because he has bit more than
cards. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. I'm like,
he could have anything. He could have anything. He could call. These guys call the check.
How many on a 9? How many cards does he have there? It's not like he can have 10-8 off on a 9.
I mean, we have more of the straight cards than he does. That's for sure.
Yeah,
but I'm thinking more that he shouldn't be c-betting this at all. To be honest, not at all.
That's exactly what I'm saying. You guys have to realize,
like half the time, maybe 65% of the time.
Yeah,
these guys are over c-betting, so they're hitting the flop. They're c-betting the flop with too wide of a range. I feel like if you check raise, they're going to call the check raise with too wide of a range, and I think they're going to overfold the turn.
If I have a jack here, if I'm in the cutoff with the jack here and you check raise me, I'm calling you down. Turn.
Yeah, I agree with
almost every card. Yeah.
Why do you guys station everything?
He will overfold on the turn. I agree. The fact is, you might just simply give up between all cards between 7 and jack in this spot.
I wouldn't give up on anything from this. I'd barrel a 9, I'd barrel a 10, I'd give up an 8.
I'm not folding my jack.
I think giving up on 8, 9, or 10 is okay if you check raise this combo here.
I think, why give up on a 9 or a 10? You have tons of equity. You have an open-ended straight draw, or a gut shot to the nuts.
You have to realize your equity a little bit too. You could get shit on the turn. I just think
you're going to realize equity probably better as a bet on the turn. I don't think you get check or raised as much on the turn as you do just stabbed into. And if you get stabbed into when you have king queen on 9 turns, it's not like you can continue unless you want to go for a double check raise.
So Dan, do you still have the solve up for this? Does it want so once is the check raise 15%? How much?
Well, that's on jack 6 deuce rainbow. I don't have jack 7 deuce.
It's the same thing.
Yeah. Slightly.
How much of a call?
What do you mean?
Like, all right, we check raise with the king queen. How much do we call with the king queen?
On the flop?
Yeah.
Oh, it's always a continue.
So
It's
yeah.
playing a raise 15%, call 85.
So I'd rather call 100% almost here.
It depends on how he's playing, but that's reasonable too.
Yeah, but if he's over c-betting, you're gonna get a lot of folds, and if he calls,
If he's over folding versus
he might
betting,
even overcall. He might even overcall a check raise.
All right. So what does he do?
Overcalling a check raise isn't great because it's not like we can barrel whistle that much.
We're only
But if
12
he's
minutes
over
in.
folding to a check raise, it's pretty good. Yeah, okay, let's play. Yeah.
I'm calling.
Call is reasonable.
I would be more happy to call with a hand like.
Yeah, see, he snap checked the turn. What a surprise!
Are we bluffing river after an ace turn?
I
with
don't
king
know.
queen?
I don't think he's got an ace, but
Why?
He can
He
check an
snapped-
ace.
he
Some
snapped
weak
checked
ace X.
I
He
check
had
with
something
the
like ace 3. He could snap check it, something like ace 3. Some
I
weak
think
ace
this-
X.
I think this guy's betting an ace on the turn.
Possibly. Or at least considering it.
We have the best showdown non-pair hand though. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
we do
I
hit a
don't
decent
think-
amount of ace X on the turn, right? Like, we're going to be floating a lot of ace high on this flop.
of course. Yeah.
So, how low down are we in our range here?
I don't think it's necessarily
Not that
low,
low.
because if he's over c-betting the flop, he's gonna have
Not
all
that low.
sorts of
What
cards.
worse hands do we really have here? Some queen
A
10,
lot. A ton
queen
of hand.
10.
Yeah,
Like,
a
why?
lot
We don't
of
have that many worse hands.
Mm,
King 10.
A lot of king suited king hands, the king 5, king 4, king 6, king 7,
Is that
all
peel
those.
flop?
Yes, it's a third pot bet. You're gonna peel off with king 5 of clubs, king 5 of spades, king 5 of diamonds. You're gonna peel. You should be.
Really?
For a third?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Well, I
You
wasn't
get your
quite
backdoor
sure,
straight. Even more. Yeah. Like you're gonna have way worse hands.
You
This
don't
is
have
your
a backdoor
best.
straight though with that, do you? King 5, you don't have a backdoor straight.
Yeah, it's hard to have any kind of backdoor straight with this flop.
Yeah. You don't really have a backdoor straight with King
My
5.
point is that King Queen is like our best non-paired showdown hand right here.
Yeah, I'm just
Like,
thinking how many
yeah.
non-paired hands do we have?
I think a
It
lot.
feels close to
Because he
me.
checks the turn, so we're like at the river. You know, I actually don't mind a donk here sometimes, to be honest. Like I think a donk bluff and a donk value bet is pretty strong in this river.
What, on the
here.
river?
Yeah.
As a lead? King Queen. No, you're right. King Queen's just a check.
Yeah,
We
I'm
have
not saying
that
King
much
Queen
sense.
specifically. I'm just saying like I
in
think-
theory, King Queen is a check, right?
Check.
Yeah, King Queen's definitely a
The-
check.
In theory, the fact is, in this spot, if he had a jack or an ace, he will probably second barrel turn. And
Yeah, 100%.
in this situation, at this limit, he can have pair of eights, pair of nine, pair of tens, even any
Yeah, I
seven,
don't
or
think he has an ace.
maybe any jack. If you overbet this
You
spot,
can have
he
a
will
pair of
always
eights, a
win.
pair
He
of
will never
nines
bluff
at a
catch
favorite
you.
as well.
So
Yeah,
we
that's
never
the
bluff
thing,
catch
right?
and overbet.
Okay, here's the
Should
thing,
overbet.
Mortel. On the river, we do play a ton of overbets, right? We play a ton of overbets, we play a ton of blocks, so two primary sizings, overbet and block, which makes sense, right? King Queen at equilibrium, in terms of how much showdown value it has, King Queen is worth roughly 15% of the pot in showdown value. So the question is he overfolding river enough to make betting even more profitable than checking?
Probably not.
Maybe? I don't know.
I don't-
Mortel's
I don't
arguing that yes, he is
Can you repeat
overfolding
the
river
question?
enough. Okay, my question is, right, on the river, let's assume he gets to the river with a balanced enough range, right?
Yeah.
Then on the river, we have 15% pot in showdown value, which means when we check, we win roughly 0.15 times 8.92. We win roughly 1.4 big blinds here when we check. So the question I'm asking
If we
you,
consider in this spot he have balanced range by checking turn,
yeah,
but yeah, if we consider that, okay, but it just that will never be the case.
well,
So let's say we
it's not
bet
that
this
hard to
hand.
have a balanced range here on the river in terms of what he gets here with. But let's assume for the
But
sake
even
of
if he
argument
always
that
bets,
is the case, and we have 1.4 big blinds of showdown value in this river. What I'm basically asking you, Mortel, is for
Yeah.
a bet to be the best line, what it means is betting needs to make more than 1.4 big blinds
on average.
in profit. Because if not, checking is higher EV. So does betting make more than 1.4
I'm not sure
big
to
blinds?
understand everything, but you ask me if it's better to check our betting river by what
That's
you tell me.
basically what I'm asking you.
But yes, if we consider that he can balance his check back range on turn, yes, it's better to check.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, what do you think if we bet here? Do you think he's calling anything under a jack as far as a pair goes?
I don't
He
think
should
so.
be.
So it's
But
better
what
to bet.
size?
You
He
think he
should
folds
be.
like pocket tens?
Yes.
What about
I
a
think
jack?
in this at this limit, all the field when they check back turn in this situation, it's always for give up.
Guys, you need to define this better. What size are we betting for one?
77%. Let's just say
Yeah.
that. Or almost pot.
Okay. But there's also the consideration that we're told that if he's checking as a give up on the turn, that doesn't incentivize us to bet more because we beat all of his give ups.
Exactly.
And he's over c-betting the flop too. I
To
can almost
incentivize
guarantee
us
it.
to bet, we need to get him to fold hands that beat us, not just random hands like 5-4, right? If we fold 5-4 here, it's not super. Well, 5-4 is somewhat relevant because he'd bluff it if we check. But if we get him to fold something like Queen 10 that he's not going to bluff when we check, there's no benefit to betting our hand. It's not going to incentivize us to bet more.
I think if we check here, I don't think he's going to bluff very often either. Just saying.
And that's also less incentive to betting.
No, because at this limit, the field always when they check back turn, it's always for give up.
So if he's not going to bluff river, then we get to realize our equity pretty well as a check.
I don't think he ever bluffs this. Like, I think
yes,
he checks back like
it's
5-4.
not bad to check, but it's a disaster if you have a 7 or pair of 8, 9, or 10s that you would never call river.
If he never calls river with 8s, 9s, or 10s, then yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I don't know this field. It's .com, right? For me, I used to play a French room, and I can tell you in a French room, if you bet like 30% of the pot on the river, they just overfold because it's always for giving up when they check back turn. So I used to bet like 33% on the river. And I can tell you as well that if sometimes when I overbet, then like the theory wants to do, they are even more curious that to hero call you.
So I will say that the fish in the pool that I play in, they're calling probably like any pair to a 75% bet. This guy's going to call with pocket threes if you bet 75% here. Like the fish in my pool are so sticky, it makes me sick.
Like there also is, that actually makes sense. A lot of regs will do the same because this is a very easy line to overbluff from the big blind's perspective. As we've made clear, right? Because if we're discussing bluffing this is an overbluff, right? So it is a very easy spot to overbluff, and stationing this spot from the cutoff's perspective will be very profitable. A lot of regs will do that.
I call a lot in this spot in the cutoff.
It makes sense to station.
I think you
the
have king
cutoff's
high.
easier.
You have the king high flush draw. That's what I'm thinking of. Some kind of king high, backdoor flush draw. I don't know.
You have a lot of hands you can bluff here. An absolute ton. It's easy to overbluff.
Definitely, yeah.
So regs will station you very, very, very hard.
I've called in the cutoff here with king queen against the big line. Like I call with king high in the cutoff.
That's reasonable.
Not against like an overpot bet or anything like that, but for 33%, I'm calling.
Oh yeah, 33. I'm calling like anything, but
I'm talking high.
Like
well, maybe blocker dependent. Yeah.
The fish in my pool, if I bet pot here with any two cards, they're calling king 2. Like it's ridiculous.
Queen 2 is a reasonable call, actually.
Well, let's say he has 3 2 offsuit. Let's say he has 3
well, not great
offsuit.
blockers, but pretty decent blockers.
He's snap calling 3 2 offsuit.
Keep it going.
Let's keep it going. But yeah, it's a reasonable call. It's a very good spot to station. Is he going for the overbet?
I would just check
I don't
it
know if
back.
we have showdown value here.
We do have showdown value, that's the thing, right?
I think I do.
I don't think he's bluffing.
Out of the pot. I think he's not happy to call that.
Yeah, see, I bet he had like
This guy
5-4 offsuit or something.
Well, if he has 5-4 offsuit and he's gonna bluff it when check to, then still is fine as an overbet.
I hope he checks to see what he had because I want to see.
is probably
Does it show on Betonline?
as well on
Yeah, he can check it.
fuck happened.
Doesn't look like he's going to though.
Even if there's no showdown on Betonline? That's
Oh
the thing.
no, the
Yeah, this guy's probably efficient. He plays his
Well, yeah,
hands
there was
fast,
showdown.
and
He
shows
checked
with
it.
his sizes what hand strength.
No, he overbet and the guy folded.
Oh, he did. I didn't see that.
Which
I thought he
Yeah.
checked.
No.
I take care of snaps as well, and this guy snapped
Oh.
as well.
Well, I'm on my phone. I can't really see.
Yeah,
I don't
sorry.
know if overbetting
Six
on the spot-
six tables on your phone is gonna be tough to
I
see.
think this is also something to think about in my scenario. Is there a 2/3 bet sufficient to accomplish what I want to accomplish? I want to accomplish that he folds, obviously, but is it enough to bet 2/3 instead of overbetting? I mean, in my mind, I think I have to overbet to definitely make him fold. And the bigger the size, the more inclined they are to fold, obviously. But is it necessary?
I don't know if it's necessary with King Queen. I mean, I think when he's over c-bets the flop, I think he's gonna show up on the river with a lot of worse
10
hands than King
I think
Queen.
it's small blind.
Yeah, you do have showdown value, that's the issue.
Sometimes
Since you
it's
have so much
higher,
showdown
it's
value,
three
it's
blind
difficult.
depend.
Yeah, I think most of these guys are over
It's
c-betting.
50% 3-bet as well on my range, so I do 3-bet it. Let's see if I get 4-bet the third time in a row, but no, not this time.
Okay.
Yeah, we're betting 1/3 since we have
Not a lot of options on King Jack 8.
checkers, which is fine. As well, we see that this flop like 100% of the time. Except we have like 100% is not correct because when I have all those low pockets, I probably don't. My GTO strategy says I should c-bet 100% of the time, but I avoid c-betting against people that have a huge check raise range. He doesn't, so he's a nitty when it comes to those check raises. I mean, he never check raised so far. No, never.
Yeah, if he's tight and not
So
check raising, you probably want to just c-bet a lot.
So I should not.
Yeah,
He's-
that's
he's-
exactly it. More accurately, you can even go further and specify when somebody isn't check raising sufficiently, you want to see that more with your hands that benefit a lot from equity denial. And their main drawback to c-betting is that check raise. So some marginal hands like, middle pair, bottom pair, those are really the types of hands that are going to benefit the most.
And if you have a
passive players.
If you have a very tight player in
Aggressive.
the big blind, you can open a little wider too, if you wanted to.
For
Because
sure.
he's gonna overfold his blinds.
Yeah.
That means he's a
If you do that once every 100 hands, that's one big blind per 100.
That's why a c-bet like 100% c-bet against him would be good. I don't know what this is, and I don't have a hand I want to call with.
Oh, I was gonna say raise.
Yeah, he could have flush draws and stuff I could call
I
though.
guess he's a fish because he's not passive at
He
all.
could.
He has a weird number on his HUD. King 10 is not an open. It could, and it is on my NL50 chart, but it isn't on the NL25 one I have now. Small blind versus early position, since it is a free bet. Since he's not full stacked, I decrease my size a little bit.
Like it.
And I don't want to make it like because of this, because I see this very often, and if I do it like 12, I throw 4 big blinds in a bin, and I just want to kind of separate him from him. I want to play him heads up, but he didn't want to play heads up post flop. So we have 22.
Hang on, pause it for a sec. So I want your guys' opinion on this. So let's say you have someone in the big blind who folds the big blind like 70% of the time. You could open any two cards against them profitably, can't you? Even 2-3 offsuit. Yeah, if it was like 71%, you could open 2-3 offsuit profitably, couldn't you?
If they fold 70% of the time.
I think the
if
auto
you
profit
open,
line
what
is
do they do
66.
soft?
I think 66% or something like that. It's either 65 or 75%. It's auto profit.
What was the percentage you said?
So
They
if
fold how often?
I think it's either 65 or 75%. You can open any two cards profitably.
It's like 70.
I want to say it's 65, but I can't remember it. So if he folded like 70%, then you could open like 2-3 offsuit and he would overfold. And you would profit off him overfolding.
It's possible. Basically, the question that it comes down to is because you're going to make a certain amount, right, when you open any folds.
Right.
The question that it comes down to is how much are you going to lose when you open and he calls?
Well, then you would just check and just give up the pot.
Right. Well, that depends, right? Because if you just always check and give up the pot, and you never get to realize your equity because he's very aggressive post-flop, then it's going to be worse when he does call. If he's very passive post-flop, right, and you can realize your equity very efficiently, then he needs to fold less pre-flop for you to be able to profitably open any two, because the EV when called is going to go up.
I'm just talking about stealing the blinds. Like if he's overfolding the big blind, you're just taking his blind repeatedly with any two cards. I mean, it depends on the small blind too, but
there's going to be a threshold, but it's also going to depend on how passive he is post-flop.
Well, I mean, I don't think the post-flop matters if he's folding over 70% of the time, though.
If 70% might be high enough that you can just profit opening any two anyway. I don't know what the percentage is.
Yeah,
but the percentage will be higher.
Are you talking on the spot small blind versus big blind, right?
No, I'm talking button versus big blind.
That's also going to depend on the small blind then.
Right, I know that, but also same with the small blind and big blind. It's the same too. It's the same thing.
I don't know what the numbers exactly are.
What you said, JR, is right. So you don't have to think too much on the post flop because your open raise pre-flop is already printing money.
So this is also why some good regs open a 2.5 from the small blind because they're exploiting the big blind.
The point I'm making, right, is the EV of your open is going to be the sum of the EVs of all of the possible lines that can result from it, right? So the EV of your open is going to be, let's say he never 3-bets. Let's say the small blind always folds and the big blind never 3-bets, right? Then the EV of your open will be the sum of the EV when you open and he folds times the frequency that happens, plus the EV when you open and he calls times the frequency that happens, right?
Yeah.
So if when he calls and then plays very passively post, the EV when you open and he calls will be higher.
Yeah.
So then the frequency of which he folds pre doesn't need to be as high for you to be able to profitably open into. Yeah, that's the point I'm trying to get across. I don't know exactly what the number is going to be though. At what stage can you profitably open any two?
And also too, so think about this too, because if you have a big blind that's overfolding, and then let's say you're in the small blind, and then you think the button is exploiting the big blind, and he has like a high fold to 3-bet. Now you can start 3-betting the button way lighter with like ace-7 offsuit, an ace or a king, whatever one that you can.
There are a lot of factors, but I don't know exactly what the line would be.
Yeah, because if you have a passive big blind and the button's over opening too much or whatever, or he folds too much to 3-bets, you can profitably 3-bet king 2 offsuit. You know what I mean?
Possibly. Anyway, I'm gonna click play before Waffle kills me.
All right.
he calls. There's a good flop for us. We're still betting 1/3. Gonna
Reasonable.
pick the flush draw.
Oh, I'm barreling
If
this.
I hit the flush on the river, I
I
will
like it.
Very reasonable as
shove
well.
as a bluff.
Yeah.
I would go half on the flop, but
I
the third
continue
is
because
fine too.
Half is fine too. A third is fine. 2/3 would probably be fine as well.
I don't know about 2/3. That seems kind of big on this board, but because
There
I
are a
think
few
if,
hands,
when
particularly
you go,
aces and stuff like king queen, would want to go big if you could
So-
build a range to support it. But
one reason I like the third on the flop is that he can call pocket pairs. Now, when you go at half, he might be folding his pocket pairs, but when you go 3/4, he's probably folding all his pocket pairs, and
Yeah.
maybe even tens. I'm not even sure. So I like to go half, but third is probably fine if you're going to barrel the turn.
there are a lot of sizes that are reasonable. It's
Will
not going to be a huge EV difference in
as a bluff.
any way. Wait, what did you say there,
I
Keith?
will. I continue, and if I hit the flush on the river, I will.
If he hits a heart on the river, he'll shove as a bluff. Okay, yeah, that tracks.
I continue because we have the non-flush draw blocker, and yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Shove hard river as well.
I mean, at these stakes, he's probably calling a king on the turn, though. But I mean, he could have all sorts of stuff.
At every stake, he should be calling a king on the turn. There is no way in hell he should ever fold a king on that turn.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think he's more often going to have a king on the
Ace seven
turn
offsuit, it's a fold.
than anything else. But
Possible, but he should always peel the king on that turn. He
Well,
should
yeah.
never fold top pair.
but like I'm calling all sorts of stuff.
Yeah. You should call a bunch of second pair as well there.
Which is a fold.
Yeah, so I don't know if the jam on the
We'll figure
river
out,
with the
whether
heart
we-
would be very good. But
On a hard river, it would be.
I think he has. I think his range is mostly kings or. Yeah, I don't know. At
On a
these
hard,
stakes,
it's going to be pretty printing on a hard river.
yeah.
On a
maybe.
non-hard river, it's going to be pretty bad to jam for the most part. But on a hard river, it's going to be printing.
Got my range a bit. My red line didn't go down as much, so now I'm kind of yeah, with a switch I'm kind of break even or positive with my red line,
Positive red line, that is beautiful. Yes.
or otherwise it's not because I'm not in those marginal spots where I'm not comfortable with.
Tennis man would be
I don't like this
proud.
opening king eight suited in early position because it brings me like weird feelings. On a lot of spots as well, people call in position. You're out of position with those hands, which I don't like as much. Early position we call 9-9 100%.
Not sure what ranges he's playing, but calling nines is fine.
Nines is either 50% or pure.
Oh, it's not going to be a pure call in these positions, but
So he did
calling is very reasonable as well.
We're not.
Tens are
as
pure.
well. He probably has ace king
Uh,
stuff, so I'm
Rake structure dependent, and
big. I
yeah.
think I could have called 10-6 suited. I should have called 10-6 suited.
Yeah. What happened on the river
Could have
there?
called 10
We value bet big, yeah, very reasonable.
10-6 suited. I should have called 10-6 suited.
Yeah, this is where you're going to make a lot of money at these stakes. Is value betting the river.
Yeah, it's very, very reasonable spot.
Because these guys are playing so face up. It's like
3-4 suited.
if you're not value betting the river, you're going to be held back
Dies, but we wait until
for a
the
long
shows.
time.
I'm checking back. I'm not betting.
Yeah.
I'm folding king 6.
Okay, fine. Folding king 6 suited. I just saw high VPIP and I really wanted to 4-bet. God damn it.
I'm checking down for showdown. I don't see a value bet there.
On the river, I think we can value bet that river. Bottom pair,
What on the top middle?
yeah. Bottom pair, check down pot, blind versus blind. That's probably a value bet.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think maybe checking ace 3 is somewhat reasonable because you block the ace high calls. But I think a weaker 3 just has to value bet.
I mean, I don't think this guy is value betting an 8.
He's not value betting an 8.
I think he's probably checking an 8.
Is
I
he
don't
at
know.
least value betting it on the river?
I don't think so.
Okay,
So,
if he never if he has all of his 8x and all of his 7x pure in this range.
I mean, he
Then
might
yeah,
be.
value betting is probably bad.
I don't know. I think it's 50-50. I think it's kind of close value betting this against someone at these stakes.
Depends how strong they are on the river.
Could
I
be
think I just
wrong.
value bet though. Yeah. I'd value bet until I'm proven wrong.
I'm checking.
King deuce is okay.
There's weird numbers, man. He's like.
I mean, you could even bet maybe one big blind. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see.
Well, that's again the assumption that he will under check raise you on the river.
Do like Mark,
right.
like,
yeah, I don't think it's happening very often at all.
No hit, no bet, out of position. That's what it means.
Yeah.
Jack was good as fold.
Wow, so tight.
I'm a little slower when I talk and yeah.
Maybe I'm just spewy as hell, but some of these folds pain me.
Queen 8 suited is not a 3-bet against this position. Queen 9 suited is the lowest.
That is true.
From small blind versus button.
Well, it's going to be size dependent and player dependent, and.
Well, yeah, I mean, if he's overfolding, if he's overfolding 3 bets, you could. If people are overfolding, I generally like to throw an ace or a king in my hand, but.
Speak for itself. 16-14. Knockdown. I haven't seen this guy. Like, don't have anything in mind on him. So this guy 3 bets in small blind. How much? 11. So we're going to shove.
Yeah, and I would just call that. I don't know. I don't like that at all.
Very reasonable. There are a lot of things you can do with ace king off here. You can call, you can 4-bet, you can shove. Pretty much anything's fine.
I think that his 3-bet range is going to be a little tighter than usual.
He did check. It's 11%, so that's pretty reasonable versus.
Yeah, but over 500 hands.
Yeah, unless that. Yeah, that was a specific position 3-bet, right? 3-bet, small blind, 11.3. Yeah, that's not going to be that accurate.
I mean, I don't think he's 3-betting pocket nines here, or like. Probably not even king 10 suited. Maybe he is, but I mean, you're even blocking that. I don't know. I just think I would just call. I don't really like. I think his 3-bet range is going to be tighter than usual.
If it's too tight, then calling could be better. But yeah, this is it's in the realm of reasonable. Jamming is reasonable. Calling is reasonable.
Especially versus these positions too.
Reasonable.
And good luck, us.
Fine.
I think queens.
I
think queens are probably going to be like the lowest. His weakest hand there. Maybe I'm wrong, but
queens. I doubt it. Even over 500 hand sample size.
I mean, he could have jacks.
I mean, 11% 3-bet. I doubt queens is going to be the lowest he's going to go down.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's risky, but I could be wrong.
If he's actually 3-betting 11%, it's going to be absolutely fine.
I seriously doubt he's 3-betting 11%.
Yeah, it could be a sample size issue, but even if it's a sample size issue, it's probably still going to be close.
To be honest, I think the enter.
At best, he's probably 3-betting 7%.
This is what.
But I could be
7% would be. Yeah, I mean, I don't know versus early position what small blind 3 percentage should be. Probably something like, I'm going to guess 9, 10.
Oh, are you talking about specific positions? I'm talking overall.
Yeah, because he had position. I can't talk. Position specific stats.
Oh, that's not going to be accurate over 500 hands.
Yeah, but what should it be? Small blind versus hijack should be 3-betting 8.1% if you're going to 12. If he's going slightly smaller, probably a bit higher. But yeah. So. Even if it's a bit of a sample size issue, it's pretty close. Like it's very much in the realm of reasonable. I wouldn't make a adjustment based off of that alone.
I just opened the hand, which sucked always, but yeah, I think it's the same here. It doesn't separate chat from all the other windows. When you type from the tables when you play, it always comes back.
Yeah, like I don't think he's 3-betting king 10 suited or any of those hands.
you can stop that.
I don't know. We tend to take different
Kind of
approaches. You make a lot more adjustments off of small amounts of information than I do.
It interrupts me. It takes time.
Not a bad thing, but
Yeah, it could be good, it could be bad. We don't
yeah, it
really
depends
know.
on how accurate your adjustments are.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
I don't understand why those people don't.
I think
use
one thing you
twice.
can do is if they're using a proper
they're
3-bet
right.
size.
Yesterday I had someone declining.
They're more
had
inclined to be
aces. He
They're more
declined
inclined to
twice,
have
more
more
likely.
jump.
Ace king suited, and I don't know why he did it.
Yeah,
It didn't make sense for
that
me.
makes sense.
He was pretty sure he
I
would
guess.
flush me away or straight me away.
Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure.
That's the rule of thumb I
Sadly
go
for
by.
him, it didn't happen. Yeah, but they should run it twice, like for low variance. But they don't.
Oh, we've got somebody who likes to run it twice.
I never
Respect.
run it twice.
So this is not a squeeze. We have.
I know, we have a
so
huge
there's
divide in
no
this
squeeze.
group.
I say bring the variance right on. I don't care.
I have squeeze ranges
There
in
you
front of me
go.
as well, and they are, yeah, pretty, yeah, let's say tight, pretty polar.
Sometimes run it twice can be good, like if there's dead money in the
And
pot.
said tennis, this is how you run over EV when you win ace king offsuit
I love that.
versus queens.
Shouting out
That's
said
funny.
tennis man for running like shit. I love it. Oh my
It's really
god.
it doesn't have
Spicy.
to be GTO. This is just not making sense, obviously.
Opens a
It is a
420.
100% 3-bet. Here we check 4-way.
Oh, we're forward.
We're
Wow.
pretty cautious with this hand. I mean, we check it through. We don't even touch the turn. It's 4-way. If people bomb here, I'm out of.
I mean,
I never call.
Your hand's pretty strong, even if it is 4-way. I think I would probably be betting this flop for sure with ace 10. Because there's a lot of it's very good if you get the button to fold, first of all.
Oh no, we don't want to get the button to fold. The button's a 50 VPIP whale that we're trying to just get a ton of money from.
Well, yeah, that's true, but
Not super incentivized to get him to fold. I'd be incentivized to bet flop to get heads up versus the button.
yeah, I didn't realize the stats, but I think
Yeah.
I like to bet this hand. I don't like to let these guys realize their equity.
It depends on how you kind of define their ranges. The button here, in theory, a lot of what he's flatting is going to be, suited ace X, ace 5, ace 4, pocket 5s, pocket 4s, a lot of pocket pairs. Versus which, this doesn't perform great as a bet, particularly 4-way, but he's not going to have to defend that wide.
Yeah, but this guy could have anything.
Yeah, he could have anything. That's exactly why I'm more inclined to bet flop.
Yeah,
I don't
now
know. I think flop is close anyway. This
now that you're on the turn, you're basically screwed.
it's a very annoying spot versus
I would
big bet,
just fold.
actually.
I would just let it go, honestly. He's betting
Yeah.
into 3 people. You don't know what these other 2 guys have. Just fold.
That's the issue. It's a very bluff catching, which we're very close to bluff catching because I don't think. Actually, this guy's got a red tag, so yeah, we're pretty much bluff catching. I don't think he's ever betting worse hands than ace 10 here for this size.
I do like a bet on the flop, though. You could even go big on the flop, I think.
Yeah, but on the flop is fine, probably. But what worries me here is the fact that you're bluff catching with 2 ranges behind left to act.
Yeah,
That
I
could
hope.
be relatively uncapped, which
I
is
really hope.
slightly worrisome. Yeah.
I really hope I don't see a call here, but
Yeah, if this had gone, if we were in the small blind here in this scenario, and the 2 players first had folded, I'm never folding this, right? But just with 2 players
Well,
left
yeah.
behind, it's
This
annoying.
is a big
Yeah,
size.
that just makes it
I don't
miserable.
talk about S10 anymore.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, there
very
you go.
close.
I like it.
Face up and yeah.
I think I like it too.
Ace 3 suited is never a touch. So I always fold. I don't have it as a call in those positions. Ace 5 suited is the only hand I either 4-bet or call. That's not true. It's either 4-bet or fold. Yeah. Yeah, it's on the 4-bet or fold range. It's 50% 4-bet or otherwise fold, so don't call it. That's bullshit. That's not true. Yeah.
You don't just fold king 5 suited in the cutoff. Oh, come on.
Oh yeah,
Being so nitty, come on.
I think you can open king 3 suited, can't you?
Some ranges will open
I
king
have
2
a
as
chart right in
well.
front of me, and I always look on the chart when I'm not sure because I don't want to mess it up. That's why I took time and wrote down all the charts, and to make sure I'm playing the charts, I played GTO.
Oh, did he just fold 5-6 and under the gun?
Well, that's fine.
That's a 50%. That's a 50% open.
Very range dependent.
Yep.
Particularly in high rake structures, actually. Okay, this is a bit off topic, but particularly in high rake structures, low suited connectors make less sense as an open.
Yeah, that kind of suck, honestly.
Particularly because you're going to get 3-bets more often, or continued as a 3-bet more often.
So, all right,
So you're more incentivized to open high hands like Queen Jack that block 3-bets and like.
Well, I got a question for you. So let's say overall these guys are barely 3-betting. Let's say that it's very rare that you get 3-bet. Would you be opening hands like this under the gun more often?
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, because I mean, it looks nice, but this hand really kind of sucks, honestly.
Well, it's a fine hand. Hey, Tom.
Hey, how's it
Oh,
going?
you showed up. I was just giving the usual don't open low suited connectors as often in high rake structure lecture. Just for you.
Good.
Perfect timing. It's your lecture.
Is it mine?
So, is that Tombos?
Yeah, it's Combo.
So, Tombos, we're playing 25 NL, and we're kind of like, I'm trying to lean more towards on like the exploitative side of things. And No Hand is leaning more towards the theory side of things, which is fine.
I'm not leaning towards theory. I'm leaning towards understanding what you're actively exploiting and why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, like, I like it. I think I'm just saying I think it's kind of cool.
It's a complementary relationship, I think.
Yeah.
He's got that old school poker knowledge, you know? And No Hand is like the new school.
I'm the guy that's been sitting in front of my computer my whole life.
Yeah.
All right. So we're just watching some 25 NL and Betonline.
To make sure I'm playing the
by Escobar. I don't know if you can hear Tom, but there's some voiceover over it. I don't know if it's coming through for you.
Is Escobar gone?
Escobar isn't here with us tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, they're Craig is recording it.
Yeah, so we're just insulting him anonymously here.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, best type of fun.
GTO and don't get myself into fucking spots pre-flop with hands I think I should do stuff with. That's when I listen to GTO, and that's when I'm not exploitive. I don't think, oh, this guy over 3-bets, so now I can call way wider or whatever. No, I don't. That's when I stick to GTO. Queen 9 is not a call versus 2.5x open versus button. And what I don't call it is a 0 EV hand, and I get rid of 0 EV hand that I can call pre-flop. My chart is it as a 60%.
No, I'm just teasing him that
he doesn't want to play the 0 EV hands.
Do zero EV calls.
Apparently not. He's been rather on the tight side pre anyway. I think it's probably a combination of rake structure and just him being tight.
That's fine. I don't think it matters.
Yeah, it's not super relevant.
I'm more on the tight side.
That's what I do. Yeah, that's what I
from the big blind.
Like strictly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't call Queen 9.
So it's going to be a position that's very influenced by rake as well.
When I bluff or when to bluff. Which is probably not the optimal strategy, but I have to work on this one, and I have to work on spots as well. I'm more on in position. I'm pretty comfortable with in position. I have to be more comfortable out of position. I have to work on my out.
Is 4-7 a fold?
What? Where?
More
Upright.
out of.
PVB. Oh, sorry, someone else is in there. Okay.
Yeah. I was gonna say PVB versus 2.5x. Hell no.
Right.
What was it? 4-7 suited.
Yeah, but it's hijack opens, small blind flats. I do think it's somewhat close.
Yeah.
If this
Yeah,
is a
I
mid
think
open,
it-
I would have probably continued versus a mid open. This I don't know.
It could go either way. I mean, the thing is, though, is when there's multiple people in the pot, it makes it more risky to check raise. So I think you could probably overfold these hands in general, just because like you could be dominated by a bigger flush, and then it just sucks when you get a flop that's like really good to check raise, and then you have to just pile in a shit ton of money.
Possibly, yeah.
So yeah, I
it's,
think
it's gonna be
Pretty
close.
comfortable
yeah,
in
I would
position.
probably fold
I
this
have to
too.
be more comfortable out of position
Yeah.
and work my out of position game as well. If you wonder what app this is like an app that moves your eyes or is letting your eyes move.
I love it.
I should take a break and go away and work far away, but this is not possible because it's dark outside in Germany. I cannot see.
Ah,
shit outside.
German. I love it. I didn't recognize the accent.
This guy's in it as well. Next 3-bet.
There's a lot of tight
Button
players in
versus
this pool,
cutoff
huh?
sevens is a 100% 3-bet.
According to his tags, yes, sir.
I mean,
That's
it's against
even-
him again.
That's
He's
even
the
more
guy
of a reason
now
to
he's out of position.
see bet a lot more, and maybe even
Let's see what I do
open
when I face
wider.
forward. Nothing. Because
Get
we don't.
aggressive.
Yeah,
So I size up a little bit. I go to 10 because this guy limped in. And 2x is not a size you should ISO with as well. That's why I
Yeah, that
flush.
was
back when I
Uh,
played in this, there was a ton of hyper aggressive fish. It's completely
And
different now.
2x is not a size you
Yeah.
should ISO with.
Well, it looks like there's a
That's why I
lot of
flush a bit.
tight players.
And I don't want to what I'm called a small size.
So what is blue, red, dark blue?
I think dark blue is reg, light blue is I have no clue.
Potential
And,
fish, I think.
Purple is knit.
Yeah, I'm wondering what yellow is. Aggressive, I'm assuming.
They're very unsure.
I'm way too colorblind to
Oh,
tell the
those
difference.
A lot of pink everywhere, a lot of purple everywhere.
Yeah, so if there's a lot of tight players, you can just be over aggressive. Maybe not like over aggressive, but like you can definitely be more aggressive than you're used to being, I'm sure.
Not
What do
sure
you
how
think?
much I love this small c-bet with the queen six versus small blind. Before
Yeah.
versus button, I think small c-bet range or versus big
I
blind,
think it's-
small c-bet range makes tons of sense. Versus small blind, I don't know. It's just going to be so pocket pair heavy, so
think
ace high heavy. A lot of stuff that's just as easy continues.
I mean, I think it's fine, I guess, because so let's say you small c-bet, he calls, and the turn isn't a heart. You can check and then make a pair on the river.
Yeah, but you could also just check flop and realize your equity that way. I think I'd rather either check or bet bigger, but I want to bet bigger, not this size versus small blind.
I like the small bet, even though his range is going to be stronger than usual.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because of this small blind. This small bet just doesn't make as much sense to me.
Yeah, I agree, but I
those
think
ones,
a small bet's
see
fine
bet
though.
1/4 of a pot.
Probably
100%, because they're overfolding and we have king like
But you can barrel on a heart. Or a
You see, I
queen.
want to barrel this now. I want to barrel this anyway.
Say
Yeah, you
I
could
want
probably.
absolutely no equity. Say he has a ton of pocket pairs that he's going to fold, a ton of ace high that he's going to fold. This is going to print as a barrel even with no equity, and I just want to bet. I'm just
I
going
mean-
for it.
The guys in my pool would have fucking like Jack 2 of like spades, and then you're gonna
Even more of a
barrel,
reason to bet. Put that in a tough spot.
you're gonna barrel the turn, and he's gonna call, and you're gonna check the river and be fucking pissed.
Yeah, but if he has Jack Deuce of spades, he's going to have Jack 3 of spades, and Jack 4 of spades, and Jack 5 of spades, and Jack 6 of spades,
Yeah,
and all sorts of other random stuff.
yeah.
And then he's going to have, your Queen 9 that you're going to get to fold out, and all of that.
And
I just want to barrel.
For
And you probably could barrel.
Yes!
because I
Yeah!
have a jack blocker as well.
Oh!
I get called.
Oh
by-
wait, he
I'm betting
barreled.
on
Oh, he barreled.
c-bet.
Oh, he went check, and then bet river. Oh no.
Yeah, I don't like the
Ah.
river bet because it's really suspicious.
Do you
my
represent your
opinion.
Jack
Positioned a
or
lot of
what's
those
going
lines.
on here?
What do you mean?
So what
Can you
happened?
tell me?
Oh, sorry. I got a little confused on the
Yeah,
river action.
small bet flop. Small bet flop. He calls check turn, and then we go for 2/3 on the Jack River.
So I think if he calls the flop, I don't think he's folding a lot on the river. That's just my opinion.
I tend to agree. His range is just condensed to a bunch of pocket pairs that's never going to fold.
Yeah, just pairs in general. I just don't think he's folding.
I mean, he's still gonna have some ace high stuff you can fold out, right? Like ace high shouldn't
Yeah,
all that
I mean, if he
Potentially.
calls
I'd just
it-
rather barrel turn and then just go for it.
I mean, he might be folding ace highs on the flop. This is 25 and L. You never know.
Possible. So, yeah. Is a river bet going to be profitable enough?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Maybe. It's close,
think
but I'd
he- I
rather
think
barrel
he
turn.
just-
I'm betting here.
I mean, you don't have to win every pot.
As
You
well.
just
I get called by a.
You do have to win every pot. You need that red line.
that red line doesn't mean anything.
Even if he doesn't know what to do here, because he's 8-9 offsuit calling in small blind, what that means, he's a mega station once checked. Don't bluff. That's my note.
Not sure if that's quite the case. I think calling down with an 8 is very reasonable when you check.
Yeah, I think that's what.
I'm not
people
sure if I'd
do.
tag him as a mega station for that.
That's all right though. I mean,
Obviously,
Yeah, the call's clearly correct.
yeah.
Not very sure about this ace-4 fold on Jack Deuce BVB. We check folded this. Backdoor
I
straight
think
draw
we
and
forget.
ace high BVB 1/3. Really don't like it.
No.
obviously,
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, call or raise. Good raise.
So explain a little bit about the paired flops, because the last time you were explaining them to me, it really helped me out. So
Okay, nobody has anything. So the first thing you gotta understand. Nobody has anything here, particularly blind versus blind. Nobody has anything. There's going to be some Jack X and some pocket pairs, but it's a very, very small part of the range. So ace high is a very good hand, and this is ace high with a backdoor straight draw. That's just high up in your range, relatively speaking.
So I do think though that these guys, I don't know why, but I feel like when they do stack the flop, I feel like they're gonna bet the turn a lot. So what would you
They'll
do
check
against
raise
one?
Thomas, what were you gonna say?
I mean, if let's say they're range betting the flop on Deuce Jack.
Yeah.
This
And Jerry says he's going to bet the turn a lot.
in position.
Yeah, but if they're gonna, continue to fire two straights, then just call two streets, right?
Yeah,
I
I think that they do bet two streets a lot, but I feel like they do check the river like a lot. So
Perfect. So yeah, I mean, if they're just gonna bet, give up a lot.
Realize your
And,
equity and
Yeah, call, or even check raise at some point. But
it's very
I check
uncomfortable.
raise the flop. That seems very reasonable.
But this is also one of those situations where like you think, okay, he bet. Am I willing to call a second bet? You have to think about the future too. And a lot of the times I just don't feel comfortable doing it.
when was the last time you called three streets with ace high, JR?
All the time, Paul. Never mind.
I don't think I do it with ace high. I think I do it with like pocket pairs and stuff. Well, unless it's a good ace high. If I have like ace queen here or ace 10, I'll call it. But like anything under that, I'm just gonna fold it out.
Yeah, versus small bet here, we just peel all of our ace high.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all.
Good bit of our king high, most of our king high as well.
Yeah, king queen for sure. Even king 10.
We're peeling king 8 here.
King 8. Yeah, I could see king 8.
King 8, no backdoor flush draw, just king 8 of spades. We're peeling here.
Anything offsuit with a diamond.
Anything offsuit with a diamond, yes, exactly.
I mean, look, you could definitely overfold those hands,
Yeah,
but
he
then
is
they're just going to
better.
run you over.
He is betting small, so yeah, I think any ace I call here for sure. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know. The paired flops are kind of weird, out of position.
All you got to remember is everyone has nothing.
Mm-hmm.
The primary factor.
I think ace 4 is good too because you have the backdoor straight, but
Yeah.
This is a small
Yeah, so
pot.
this is a big overfold. Is
Now
what
we
you're
What
have
if
saying.
a
he
huge call on
what if
him,
he
which,
bet like
gives
half
us
pot
the-
or 3/4 though? What about that? Because that's what these guys are doing a lot in my pool. They're just stabbing huge.
Just check
And
raise a
we
lot.
have no backdoor flush draw. And he stabs big. Oof, actually, that's a tough spot.
Just check raise a lot, man. I mean, that's the mistake.
See,
You're putting in too much
I've-
money.
I've been trying to do that, and it doesn't work. These guys, they just call, bet. It's like,
So what are they calling with? Like they can't
Like-
always have a jack, right? They're gonna have like some garbage in there.
they do have garbage, but like I just don't understand. Like I just get screwed every single time.
Are you giving up immediately after you check raise, or are you gonna keep?
No, I barrel sometimes, but like, and then I just get pissed because he ends up showing up with like pocket threes or something.
Well, I mean, pocket threes should call. So
Look, pocket threes should call versus a check raise on the flop. Versus
Yeah, and then the barrel-
is going to be close. So
yeah, any
yeah,
made hand should call at least once, probably twice, right? You have to
Yeah.
expect that. But that's
Yeah.
like again, that's like 15% of their range share. The rest of it is just air, right?
Yeah, it just seems like every time I check raise, and it just never works out for me. But
You can't always have it. Sometimes you got to be able to bet and get them to fold.
yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes.
It's crazy.
Maybe
The poker gods
Remembering
are-
the losses more strongly than the times it works.
That is
yeah,
a
probably.
significant memory bias, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Absolutely.
should not be in that hand with 8-9 offsuit, but it's fine. I mean, this is a small pot we lose. Now we have a huge call on him, which gives us the possibility to print on him the next time when we play against him. And have a hand. Some people go nuts when you check flop with a strong hand and then you just bet strongly on turns and rivers, and they call with second pairs and whatever. I've seen shit calls here on this check bet line or check over bet over.
Another
bet line,
paired
even
board?
this line they called hard, and yeah, that's what I do.
Did somebody say something?
I said it's another paired board.
Oh, another paired board, sorry. It's getting confusing for me because I have the audio over you guys. Hang on, maybe I can turn down the audio on my PC. One sec.
Same here.
Yeah, okay, this might be better.
I don't know what he check calls here, but I bet one quarter again.
I don't mind that, honestly. I use that a lot against fish.
The turn barrel?
Have a good night, bros. See you.
Oh, have a good night, Chateau.
Cheers.
Is he leaving?
Yeah.
Oh,
You could even
yeah,
consider
man.
barreling this turn for a bigger size.
Yeah, I wouldn't
I
mind
find-
the 2/3
I
there.
find myself doing this too a lot, betting small on the turn with against the fish.
Yeah. You could maybe go bigger. This is fine though. It's reasonable.
This guy pots here, bombs it. I don't know what he has.
Wait, what happened? Top
I think-
left. Oof.
Oh, what, he donk pots it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Holy
top left, we
shit.
open cutoff, small blind call, big blind call, small blind donks pot.
I mean, you could probably see one card, but if he's potting the turn, then it's a fold.
What is
I
this?
mean,
Flush
it's
draw?
probably even close calling the flop. They don't really do this that often, potting it. But sometimes they give up on the turn too. So
Do they give up on the turn? I don't see what he's giving up turn with here.
I've seen him give up on the turn.
In this spot though, what is he potting flop and then giving up? Like what hands?
He could have
take
flush
that line?
draws.
Do those give up
Um,
turn?
He could have like pocket sevens, I guess.
Is that pot flop?
So like if it's a king on the turn or something, I wouldn't be surprised to see him check.
I think if you're giving up at this hand, you're giving up with like
much.
80% of your range.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, so with the backdoor,
But this is also
flush draw-
multi-way versus a pot donk. I don't think folding 80% of your range is all that unreasonable.
No, it's not. But
Not
I
with
still think
pocket
I should
eight.
call this.
So I think he could have a lot of like pocket sevens, pocket eights, pocket nines, maybe pocket tens. Maybe a flush draw, probably not though.
How much 6x is in there?
Yeah, he's definitely doing this with a six, I think.
I
It's
mean,
not
Is he-
that much, though.
He's
What?
probably scared of the flush.
I know he shouldn't really have that much 6x here, but if he's donking pot on this flop, you gotta assume he's a wreck.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
Definitely
think
some potential 6x in that range.
I think it's a pair or a 6, for sure.
Could be a pair, could be a 6, could be
It
a
could
flush
be-
draw.
it
I
could
don't
be
see much
complete
else
air.
that he's donking here.
I'm not sure he's doing it with a flush draw, but he could have complete air too. I don't know. Could be
I
like
don't see any complete error.
he could be a mega whale.
Definitely see a lot of flush draws in this line for sure.
Flush
You
draws
think
are
he
possible.
pots it with a flush draw? I think
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
I think
Flush
that's
draw go
reasonable,
bird.
yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
yeah, that's reasonable.
It's the extent of the logic. I just don't think you could fold this immediately.
No, I don't think
it's
so,
a big
yeah.
overfold.
It's a gigantic
Does he
overfold,
fold it?
but if he's barreling all of his flush draws on the turn and everything else, I don't think it's a bad overfold.
I don't think he's always barreling his flush draws, but maybe.
I think he's likely to. I would just fold.
I think this is
That reasonable.
it could be a flush draw. I think it's a pair or better. It sucks at the 3 because
Oh, that's a beautiful
half
card.
pot.
Oh, snap.
oh
call.
now he half balls. Yeah,
Now we have to call, but
Beautiful.
I
Why
don't think
do you guys
I'm
not
as
like this?
optimistic as you,
That's-
Tom.
yeah. So I think
Why is it pretty bad? It's gotta be great.
no. I think it's
I mean, the 3 turn is good, but
I think it's I think
he's
I
only
would,
got one combo of pocket 3s now. This is good. Like, I'm calling,
Yeah, this is
but
excellent.
I hated the flop already.
I think it's a call, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him have like pocket 9s or pocket 10s here, or even better. I don't know.
Or ace 5.
No,
Yeah,
stop doing this
yeah,
face 5, Tom. You're too
no.
optimistic. You're too
See,
optimistic.
I felt like he might check here on an overcard.
Okay, now I'm pausing it just so we can discuss this. I say he has exactly pocket 9s.
I think he has.
Lose.
Yeah, I think he has pocket 10s.
Ace 5
Tom, you
of
want to put
clubs.
him in guess? Ace 5 of clubs. Okay.
All right, let's see it.
Actually, that's pretty reasonable.
Watch him value
But give
that.
up the flush draw. All right, let's see.
But he can also have shit.
Pocket 5s. Oh my god.
Oh
Okay.
my god,
Fair enough.
that's crazy. That is pretty crazy.
And y'all wanted to fold.
Yeah.
Nits,
I wanted to
nits
fold the
everywhere.
I didn't want to fold.
I wanted to pull the flop. All right, fine in the dip. Fun.
I only wanted to fold to a pot
Like 8,
on the turn.
28 here. I see that here on a flop. I think he's a weaker player and he's not folding a king. I'm check shoving turn.
Check shove
I like
and
how
turn.
these guys just say this. Like, I think he's a weaker player. He's never folding a king. In what world is a good player ever folding a king?
In a 3-bet pot? Probably never on that board.
In a 4-bet pot.
Oh, it is a 4-bet
4-bet
isn't it?
pot.
Yeah, no, you're never folding a king
Yeah.
ever.
Exactly. I'm very confused what him being a weaker player has to do with him never folding a king. No one in their right mind is ever folding a king.
Well,
on
alright,
a
so what
similar
about?
note, I just want a barrel turn.
Yeah, I don't think I'm checking the turn, and I might even be going smaller on the flop, and so I can go small on the turn to try to get called by smaller pocket pairs.
Yeah, I don't like checking turn because we unblock King X. If we had something like Ace King, I think would be closer checking turn.
Yeah, you can even go third pot again.
But Aces unblocks King X. I don't see.
You don't have to.
Third pot would be fine.
Yeah, you don't have to set up like a nice river jam. You can go third pot again. It's not a big deal. I just don't see him calling.
Third pot sets up a pretty nice river jam.
I just don't see him calling any pocket pairs lower than a king to another bet here, but maybe I'm wrong. That's why.
For another third pot bet?
That's
I
why-
definitely could see that.
That's why I like to go 25%, 25%. Because it's like more reasonable for them to be calling smaller pairs than like third pot. But that's just how I am.
Check jam's fine, but I would have rather just bet turn.
He's not folding any.
Watch him fish. I mean, watch him fold.
Ooh,
Well, he got max value.
Fine.
he did.
Big blind versus one, king, queen.
That was
suited.
very interesting.
So I do 3-bet.
I don't particularly like the check on the turn.
We have to play.
I think his
I don't
3-bet
either. I
size is a
prefer
bit
barrel,
small.
but
Yeah. What
Also,
happens
queen
when he
game?
has? What? Where?
King queen suited.
Versus under the gun here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I guess it's playable.
seems fine. Probably low frequency.
And using
I'm
really small sizes.
Yeah, that's true too.
I'm 3-betting that. He has all sorts of hands.
You betting it, you mean?
I'm just gonna call it, to be honest.
Yeah, I like the 3-bet. He has all sorts of stuff. He has 5s, 6s, 7s, 8s, 9s, 10s, Queen Jack, Ace 10, Ace Jack.
If I had massive respect for my opponent, I'd throw in a 10% 3-bet. If I didn't, I'd call pure.
Yeah, so like if you 3-bet and it's a king high flop, you can bet and potentially fold on the river. I don't know.
What? On a king high flop, you're stacking off here. If it's a clean run out every time.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, maybe. Depends on.
If it's a dirty run out, maybe,
Yeah.
but on a clean run out, you're stacking off every time. King queen considerations for c-betting. I'm assuming we're all playing big bet or check on this flop.
Oh yeah.
Any consideration for c-betting king queen suited with a backdoor flush draw? I think it's a reasonable c-bet candidate.
I think on the 9 high board, I'm just betting half pot.
Half pot's fine too. I just wanted something bigger than a third.
Oh,
Yeah, I like
check.
the
I
half
don't
pot
want
better.
half pot, 2
I don't
queens,
like
anything
the-
like that.
I don't like the check here because it just sucks when. Yeah, I really don't like the check here. Because he has all sorts of. He has like pocket 5s, pocket 6s, pocket 7s. He has hands that he's just like auto folding. Not a lot, but he has some hands that he's auto folding on the flop, and then you're realizing your equity on the turn. And now you're giving him the driver's seat. And it's just gonna.
I think a check is fine, but I do prefer a bet. I agree with you, Jim.
Yeah, it just sucks when
Yeah,
he
that's
bets
right.
and now you're. Because what happens if he bets 3/4 on the flop, and then now it's just misery.
Check shove for value.
Well, if he bets 3/4 on the flop, I think he isn't. What?
No, don't do
Check
that.
shove for value. No, I was going to say easy fold, but if he bets something like a third, I think we can call. I think we can raise. We can definitely do some stuff versus a third, and I'd expect mainly a 1/3 bet, or from a reg, I'd expect always a 1/3.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think he's supposed to be betting a third here. Most of the time, but
no. Let's see what happens.
I wouldn't be surprised if. Oh, there you go.
Okay, so turn size. If we're going to bet, what do we think?
So another problem with just checking here is he could be checking back an ace that you could have folded on the turn here.
And
You know
ace
what I
of what?
mean?
He could. So do we try and fold out an ace now?
He could have ace 10, ace jack, ace queen, maybe ace king. He would.
So what I'm
Yes,
hearing
ace
is
king.
you want to go for pot, or maybe like 110% and get him to fold out.
No,
I like it.
I'm talking like bet the flop, bet the turn, but as played, I don't really know what to do because I'm over betting the flop. I'm not checking back very often. I don't know. What do you guys?
I mean, when we are in this position, what are we really saying we have in terms of value bets? Our value bets here are going to be aces that check flop sometimes.
Yeah. And,
tens that check flop.
but even that's dicey.
Jacks that check flop. What size does that really want to go? Big, pot?
3/4.
Right. So I don't mind just potting it, sticking it in.
3/4 would be nice.
Maybe 3/4 is fine.
Yeah, because it's gonna leave you.
3/4 pot, something big.
Yeah. I don't know. I would probably just. It's hard.
Yeah, pot is just the size I land on because it's relatively geometric.
Yeah, I would probably just bet here because it just sucks if you check call and then he checks the river with ace high and wins.
Check shove for value.
Yeah.
Check call,
that
check
might
jam.
actually-
Come on, yes, Tom. Check jam, exactly that.
Yeah, because if you check
This
jam
time I agree
here,
with you.
what is he calling a check jam with here? I don't think he's calling much after checking the flop. So I think a check jam might be pretty good actually.
Yeah.
Because then you're folding out like ace 10 through ace king to a check jam unless he has diamonds.
Not sure how much he stabs that on the turn, but yeah.
Unless he has diamonds or
Maybe
clubs,
sometimes
but
the right suits.
or diamonds or spades.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of sucks that he checked the flop. It's a really shitty spot
I'm
now.
still checking against the passive player. I'm not touching the board until I hit.
Okay, so we check. And versus half pot. Jam, do it.
Yeah, I think he's folding most of his aces.
It's this passive line.
Why so
Yeah,
passive?
I don't really
Jam
like
it.
it. Because now what happens if it's a...
Okay, now donk jam it. Donk jam it. Let's go. Come on. Just get the money in there. I don't actually think you can donk jam this here. Not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we can't.
I just like the bet on the flop, man.
No.
King high just sucks.
Yeah.
Versus
bet
flop
underline.
jam turn.
Bet
Come on.
turn or check raise turn.
King.
Bet flop, bet turn, or check jam turn. Just sticking more money somewhere.
Yeah. King high sucks versus under the gun. It's just awful.
Oh yeah, you're never winning this. You are checking this down with 0 showdown value. Now you're losing 100% of the time.
Yeah, I mean it's all right, but I
Can you profitably donk jam this?
Probably.
Versus a wreck.
No.
Completely unbalanced.
Not on this jack.
I'm talking completely unbalanced. But
I wouldn't.
don't think so.
I
Probably
wouldn't.
not. Yeah. I don't think you can.
I would just
even unbalanced versus a wreck.
I just give it up. It's all right to lose pots.
No, it's diamonds. Sorry, not of spades. Would have liked to check.
Oh, now check jam. No, okay. Bye.
Yeah.
He gave me
To be honest, I don't think
this
this hand should even check raise. To be honest, or shouldn't even raise pre-flop. This hand should just call pre.
I like the raise, but
if you look at Wizards things, it's probably like a 10% for
just because under the gun has ace king and ace queen doesn't mean it's not a good raise. He has plenty of other worse hands.
Yeah, that's not what determines a good check raise, though. It's is the value of calling higher.
Bet you're talking?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I keep saying check raise where I should be saying 3-bet, but I prefer.
Yeah,
just
I know
calling
what yours. Yeah. I don't know. I
depends on the sims you're looking at. Actually, 500 NL General has a 67% 3-bet.
You might be right. I just feel like I really like 3-bet pots. It's like my obsession.
Fair. Yeah. I don't think it's a big deal either way.
I like the raise.
No, it's diamonds. Sorry, not of spades. Would have liked the jack of spades, obviously.
I hate the raise if you're going to play it so damn passive post flop.
As a fish. His name is Program.
And apparently, Tom, he has a positive red line.
So this guy is way up.
I don't believe you.
Positive.
No, actually,
that's what it
he
says.
declared it during the video.
He's super. He overfolds a lot early on, which can give you a positive red line. So
That is true. Yeah.
I could see that.
Fair enough. But get more aggressive, stick in more money. How many times have I said that in the past month? At least 100.
At least every single video you reviewed, you said that.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, he just checked back king queen on this. Look at the top right. He checked that back with the flop.
Okay.
Versus small blind.
I actually don't mind it, to be honest. I don't mind the slow play.
Really?
Yeah, it's mainly because there's a 2 and a 4 on board, and I want to give them a chance to split their range and separate their sets from their strong hands. Just because I think pocket 2s, pocket 4s makes a good chunk of their small blind flatting range, but you don't have to bet every single strong hand. You can slow play if you think they're going to overextend on later steps.
Oh, I'm betting this every time.
They're also going to split their range, though, versus a bet on the flop in terms of check raising all of their sets and nothing else, or just check calling the rest of their range.
This is true.
He just has so much that I feel like he has so much that he's just going to call a small bet with.
Oh, small bet? No. I was going big.
No.
Oh yeah, for sure. I want to go big.
Yeah.
I want to go
Always
like
thinking in that money. I was going to say 2/3, but sure, I can give you half.
Sure. 2/3.
Yeah. Big bets, thinking more money.
But JR, do you check back the flop with value ever?
Yeah.
Like, ever. Like
yeah,
I don't mean like weak value,
value.
like showdown value, like don't want to make the pot too big, pot control value. I mean like strong value, like king queen here.
I'm not checking that king queen versus small blind here, but yeah, I will sometimes versus like the big blind, not the small blind.
Why the distinction?
Because I feel like the small blind has more hands to call with on the flop. So I feel like we're getting more value from a bet versus the small blind than the big blind.
Okay.
I like it. I like it.
Because if we bet, so let's say this is the first the big blind and we bet a third on, he's going to be folding. I feel like he's going to be folding a lot.
His range is much wider, and he has a lot more hands that just whiff this flop.
I just feel like the small blind's just going to be calling, you know, some ridiculous amount, like 75% of the time or more. I don't know.
Potentially more, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't feel like we're. It's just I feel like we're getting more value out of the small blind betting here, but
unless you can just check back and then get that value in its lacy bet line.
I mean, in my
possibly also the case.
In my experience, the small blinds they just never fold ever. So why would you want to check back a hand that you want to get value with?
They never fold up to the first street of betting, you mean, or they just never fold in general?
They never fold to the first street.
Because if they just never fold to the first street of betting, right, we could either, you know, bet this big on the flop, he calls, then we get to the turn, we get one street of value, or we could just check this back and then go for a street of value on the turn, right? It's not like we're really denying that much equity if he just calls range, or any equity if he just calls range.
I don't know
it's not
about
really a reason to opt for this versus a delay C bet line.
I don't know
Out
about
of curiosity, Tom, if you did check back flop, what size are we delay C betting?
Depends on the turn card, but probably somewhere on the
bigger.
2/3 range, maybe even over bet.
Okay, I was gonna say 2x pot, but fine, 2/3.
Okay. Spicy.
Alright. Well, yeah, he's gonna have all of his 5s through 8s that he just couldn't call to 2x pot, so I'm sticking the money in. Alright. So, I do agree though. I'd prefer just a big bet on the flop.
I don't know about a big bet. I just don't think he's calling.
Now we overbet turn.
I don't.
Overbet turn, yes! Oh yeah, spicy. Although I would have gone 2x.
Okay. And don't chicken out now.
Barrel river.
Don't
Yeah,
chicken out. Like a 75 on the
we
river.
can't jam this. Oh no, he's going overbet. He's going 125. Which I think is reasonable. Maybe not on a 7. Maybe it's close.
Are we
maybe
really
75.
overbetting a straight completing board though?
Yeah, what straights does he have? Is he
Not
really?
fair. I
I'm
mean,
not worried about
this
this.
is
He really-
25
what
now.
straights can he have?
He can have anything.
Sure, but
Can
it's
he
not a big
really
part of his
have
range.
8-5 suited that calls a turn overbet and calls pre-flop?
No, you're not. It's 5-3 offsuit that you're worried about here. That's the big hand.
He could have 5.
Yes, the 5-3 offsuit, the good old 5-3.
Yeah, but if he has
Yeah,
5-3, he's got 5-6 offsuit, 5-7, 5-8.
Not sure if I'd overbet though. I think I might just go 2/3. Yeah.
Yeah,
I like a
think
2/3
I
extract
think
value.
2/3. Yeah. I think overbet's pretty risky.
Small overbet is reasonable though. I don't mind it.
I just think it's not going to extract as much value.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck GTO versus those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I would have probably third potted the flop and then probably 75% turn, but I think overbet is definitely good too.
My line would have probably been
I just don't like
70% on the flop, 2x pot turn, look to jam brick rivers.
I don't know about the river spot, but
I got top pair, I'm stacking them.
yeah. Well, in my pool, he could have pocket kings.
You block a combo of pocket kings. What pocket
Yeah.
kings can you have?
Yeah.
Or 3 combos of pocket kings, sorry.
How about when he calls with pocket kings there and doesn't raise? What do you think about that?
I think I'm
Then
going
I
to open my
smash my
buttons
mouse through
super
my
wide.
window. That's true.
That'll have you question in life after that happens to you.
Yeah, but also open your buttons really wide because you're not going to get 3-bet enough and you're just going to get to over-realize. So that too.
Hit the wrong one, and I'm 3-bet calling the queens here, which is fine.
What was the action with queens? We 3-bet versus undergun, call versus 4-bet, sure.
I'm 3-bet calling queens here, which is
Sure. The problem is that he has King 10, King Jack, King Queen. He has all sorts of kings here.
Oh yeah, this is not
Like,
a good board for us.
if he's competent.
This is not a good board for us.
Yeah, the
actually.
king high board is like the worst possible board. Worse than an
Key
ace
range
high board.
bets still need to continue this, I suspect.
Oh yeah, I'll call
It's just gonna
one.
be too close.
Yeah. And then just folding the turn.
And I fold turn.
Yep. And he check.
I think tens is close.
You could fold.
The
If he
tens
checks,
top middle, I think is very, very close. Yeah.
if he checks the river, are you value betting queens here?
No,
No,
Yeah, I'm not either.
no, not a chance now.
but I think tens is close
Because
on
if
the
he's
middle table.
if he's competent, he could be checking back king 10 suited, king jack suited.
Yeah, you can't value bet versus a check on the river.
Yeah.
Fold turn.
This is in essence him calling tens here without randomizing it. Why barreling turns in position is so profitable. Because this can already fold flop pocket tens here.
Yeah.
Oh, so wait, what happened
So
with
you
the 10?
get
He
tens was reopen, hijack button, 3-bets us, check, c-bet a third, recall.
Yeah, so when I'm in the buttons position, I'm c-betting the turn with like all sorts of air and nothing just to get
That's
just
why it's so profitable, because
Yeah.
there are so many of these hands like pocket tens that we shouldn't have full frequency in these
Right.
positions. And a lot of players do.
I feel like if he bets the turn, tens might even be a call on the turn. Because if you're
tens should probably just fold flop. This is such a bad board for us, man. This is fucking
yeah,
horrible.
but the button could have all sorts of the button
On this
could have
board,
ace.
we can I don't know,
Ace eight
fold
suited.
80% of the time at equilibrium maybe.
How much?
I would be
I would guess folding 80% of the time at equilibrium on the flop.
on the flop.
Yep. Yeah, I could see that
Yeah.
for sure.
Tens.
Yep.
I don't.
Calling
Pocket
these
jack.
under pairs to top pair in these positions is a big leap of
Yeah.
a lot of players. That is why barreling is so profitable.
So
This is
hang on,
such a
you
bad
should
board
check
for you.
it. You should check it. I don't think pocket tens ever folds a flop to what, a third?
Here,
Yeah.
To what?
No, I
to a
think it-
third, I would guess 80% of the time. Tom's right, it might be always.
I'm gonna check it right now.
I don't think it's always, but it's gonna be a lot.
Yeah, what was it? Hijack opens, button 3-bets, hijack calls, king 4 deuce, rainbow. Can you see my wizard window?
No.
No. You gotta change it to
One
screen
second.
as opposed to.
Will do. Yeah. No, I can't change it to screen because if I change it to screen, then it's not going to give you the audio. But I'll change it to my wizard window. Here we go. So we check, obviously, no donking. He c-bets small with range. I
Yeah.
assume. Yeah.
Mhm.
C-bets small with range.
Ten.
And pocket tens actually mainly calls. Yeah,
Change it to,
the cutoff
50L.
of folding 70% of the time.
You have to
Yeah,
have
15 is
some
going to be tighter,
pairs.
but I can't because I can't run 2 sims, Tom, because I don't have whip premium.
You have to have some pairs that
Okay.
call. You can't just fold all your pairs because then
What does
you'll
it
be
look like?
over folding. So
Yeah, but you can
And
be
if you
overfolding on this
call-
board, though.
so
and
if
it's-
you call and he barrels the turn, I'll bet you that he's calling pocket queens.
Oh no, I can check the same spot on 50 now, even without premium.
Yeah. Now, pocket queens he doesn't really have a whole lot of in range because
Yeah,
this
it's
is supposed to
50,
format.
we're folding 80% of the time.
So
Yeah. And look, notice that we're massively overfolding relative to MDF here.
so
That's
wait,
It's a
hang on.
terrible board for us.
So
Yeah.
have him call and then have a brick turn. Have it be like a rainbow 9 or something, or an 8. And then have him bet like half pot or a little over. Have him do like 20. And
Let's say we just take 75% because it's the most common size.
I wonder if he calls jacks here at all.
It's mixing again.
Indifferent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because he has to have hands to call with. You can't just overfold.
You can. I mean, it is overfolding. It's overfolding massively already on the flop. And
Yeah.
again, it's
I mean,
overfolding on the turn.
if-
So
Well, like if you're gonna
well, compared to MDF, it's
if you're gonna
folded.
call any pair here, then you can just simplify and call your biggest pair. You know what I mean?
Well, the biggest pairs also block more bluffs. So
They block more bluffs and they have less
So yeah.
equity versus.
So like if you think it's
some straight, like I'd rather versus some hands. I'd rather call fives here.
yeah,
than
but look at
jacks.
the button's
Mhm.
turn barreling range. Like, what do you mean it's blocking bluffs? Because he's barreling so wide on the turn.
Yeah.
Well, look at his bluffs: Queen 10, Queen Jack, Ace 10, Ace Jack, stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, you can just simplify it to the biggest pairs if you want, but I would prefer
It's
fives.
also, I guess on the
here.
flop where it's range betting, if it's range betting flop though, he's gonna have, well, actually one of that many eights, nines, sevens, it's a button flat. Button plays a flatting range, right? So he's not gonna have that much because it's mainly gonna go into the flatting range pre.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
I
thought
think it becomes more
interesting.
relevant versus like hijack or versus cutoff, say, because if the cutoff's not playing a flatting range pre.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I just
Yeah.
didn't think it would be like a punt if you called a turn barrel with something like pocket tens, but
Yeah. It's
certainly
really
not a
close, but
punt.
no, I was talking mainly about calling flop, because when you overcall flop there, people can barrel turn really aggressively versus you.
yeah,
You just get a bunch of
that's
overfolds.
true.
Oh,
for
versus
sure.
stop the risk.
And it's doing a lot of
Yeah.
raise folds on the flop because calling is just not going to be a profitable line. It is not a fun time to call down here.
Out of position particularly, yeah. We play a ton of raises in 3-bet pots out of position.
Yeah, I mean at these stakes too, the guy is gonna be very honest, I think.
Capable of checking ace king offsuit.
Well, that part is you can't realize you're actually with tens there.
Yeah, that's big factor.
You're drawing to 2 outs.
A lot of the time.
I'm surprised I see this hand from him. Oh, that's good.
Oh, that's a good run out.
I was gonna say value bet river.
I'm calling a river bet.
Oh, I'm calling for sure, but I'm value bet river.
You could probably block the river, and maybe I don't
I was
know.
gonna say
He just said that he suspects that guy can check back ace king. So if he thinks he's doing that, then he could have pocket jacks and pocket.
No, I think he was talking. Oh, wait, was he talking about the left table or the middle table?
Oh, I don't know. No, I think he was talking about the middle one. Oh, maybe he was talking about the first one. I don't know.
I think he was.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah,
anyway,
I'd like to check down, but
I think you could potentially. I think you could block the tens though.
Maybe block. You could even go bigger.
Or you could just check call. I think check call would probably be the best. I don't think you're getting much value from blocking, but now that I think of it, I don't know. It's kind of a weird spot.
Maybe.
Next hand we are overbetting against him. Okay,
Yeah, it's kind of a weird spot. What did he bet? 16?
Call.
Yeah.
Call. Snap call.
4-bet, check.
Oh, it actually it's a hard river. Oh, I didn't see
It's
it was
kind of a
hard.
weird. It's kind of a weird spot.
Yeah, sorry, I thought this was a brick king river. I pictured as a king of diamonds in my head for some reason.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird spot, honestly. I mean, I don't know, man. This is like, what do you think?
it's
Still
gross.
call.
I still think you're indifferent here.
I just don't see many bluffs.
Alright, guys, I have to go. Thanks for the review.
Okay.
It's
Oh,
coming.
you, Martel.
Yeah. See you, man.
See you. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
I don't know.
I think you could have folded any street so far, and it would have been fine.
Can you fold the river?
Mm-hmm.
Here?
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna fold. I don't really see him bluffing much here. I mean, it's hard to see what he's value betting, but like, I don't know. It's
He's value betting queens, jacks, some flushes, because some flush, like a lot of flush draws, like say,
Well,
pick
like,
random hand.
he should probably
Jack 10 of hearts is gonna check turn because it doesn't want to get jammed on. We're gonna do a ton of jamming.
He should probably be value betting his queens and jacks on the turn.
Queens
So
and jacks. Yeah, they could, but they could also check back turn. That's a reasonable line as well.
So that's what makes this even more weird. I just think, I don't know, probably just fold, I guess. I think in general, people are going to be under bluffing at these stakes.
In this line, though, you could make some mistakes in bluffing here, though. You could bluff some ace high, thinking this board is better for you than it is. Potentially.
What is he bluffing here? 10 jack, you're blocking that. Queen jack. I mean, is he smart enough to do that? Probably
jack,
not.
maybe.
I don't think he's confident enough to be bluffing. I would just fold. I would probably just fold it, honestly.
I think I'm calling this down, but I don't love it.
He's passive and he's, I don't know. I mean, we don't block. If we block.
Yeah, I just fold it. It's very weird that he would bet the river like that, but.
King 5-5 XX. So this is how my note looks like. If you care about it, 4-bet Jack early position with MP 1 and done on King 4-5. But this is like I make these notes to find exploit. I try to have not more than 3 notes against those guys in general to have an overview. If I have like 3 notes and they basically tell the same, I'd write something. Write it. I don't know how to say it. I try to put those 3 things and notes into one comment and to make a general note on him. Yeah.
Do you have anything to say about his notes, you guys?
I can't really hear him.
He's taking a lot of notes on plays that seem standard.
I don't think it's necessary to have like a paragraph of notes. I think like just like I don't know. Like I feel just I don't know. When I take notes, like I just do like a very simple note, and then I don't keep adding to it. I just don't. I don't know. Like sure, like
is important.
But yeah, but
you don't. He's taking notes on hands where opponents played it fine.
Yeah, like he warned someone a calling station for correctly calling down with like Jack 8. Like that's
9-8. I mean, it was. I would have taken a note on that hand, but my note wouldn't have been stations after c-bet flop check turn. That wouldn't have been my note. My note would have been flat to the small blind versus button with 9-8 off. Like that's something that's important to note. But he's noting him for being a station for that one. It's not a play that play's not a station, right?
Yeah, I got you.
I just don't think he's targeting his notes at the right things.
Yeah, I just keep them short. I don't. It's very rare that I have more than 2 sentences on one I mean, more than 1 sentence on one person.
Sufficient.
Because of our overs and the flush draw, and if we hit a flush draw against this guy, I think we are printing. So we're losing against King High.
Yep.
So this guy steps, turn.
Yeah, so if you have a fish that does that, you probably want to pick a certain color for them.
Try to keep them
because if
like.
Can you guys hear me by the way? Because I just switched my headphones.
Yes.
So like if you have a fish that will stab the turn with any 2 when you check, you need to label that fish a certain color, because when you flop top pair against that guy, you're gonna get a lot of value from checking.
And when we don't flop top pair and we have a hand here like Queen Jack facing the stab, Queen Jack of Hearts, what are we doing?
Yeah, so like, oh wait,
raising every goddamn time.
No, exactly.
Raise.
So when that guy, because he's stabbing any 2 cards, so you want to check back your value hands, and then you want to be check raising a lot more than you normally would, because they're going to overfold. And those are the fish that you're going to make a shit ton of money from. So you need to label those fish a certain color. You need a specific color for those aggressive fish.
I don't know if I'd classify this guy as aggressive when he's checking back King 3 on the river here.
Well, like when I tag these fish, I just tag him as an aggressive color because those are the guys that you're either going to lose a lot of money from or you're going to make a lot of money from because they're so aggressive.
I would have a tag for button clicking whale that I put this guy in, but
Yeah.
that's slightly different. Yeah, I would take a label though that he's just one and done in turn with king 3.
Yeah, like a fish that just will stab any 2 cards. You need to label him a certain color because you're
Also important to note that he flattened hijack versus low jack with king 3 suited.
Yeah, you could write like flats king 3.
Gonna make me squeeze a lot wider pre because
I highly suggest making a color specifically for the fish that will stab any 2.
And they were kind of useless.
That's very reasonable too. Yeah.
Very important because you could be losing a lot of money against those people if you think that they're value heavy and you're just going to be overfolding against them. Or you could be value betting a top pair and they're going to fold.
But what is?
Or you just also lose a lot of money when you call queen jack of hearts on the turn.
Yeah.
Also bad.
Yeah, you could have raised it.
Every time, raise it. You have that read, raise it every single time.
Yeah, I wouldn't write a note. I would make a color for that person.
Both work, as long as you know what you're doing.
Don't let me do this again. It is a 3-bet. This guy is getting punished by 3-bets. Or he's punishing me, let's say. Let's see what's happening now. So this guy doesn't see bet this board, but 9 is not.
What did I miss?
We're fine.
We were just talking about that king 3 stab one and done thing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he needs a what? Were you gone?
Let's see.
Yeah, I was just grabbing a beer.
Oh, he needs to label those guys because he's gonna lose a ton of money from overfolding.
So the ego, we throw it out of the window. We just play GTO there. GTO says it's not a call. GTO says it's a 3-bet, but let go. Or maybe I looked in the wrong one, man.
Back when I played in this pool, it was full of those guys.
And I think it was cut off as MP, so I fucked it up because it's a call. Yeah.
And
what,
those
the
are the
turn probers?
Yeah, those are the same guys that will check raise you very light too. Those are the only fish that will actually check raise you.
This is a 3-bet call, and it's a 100% call. So for the next time it's fine, but either I like it more to make bad folds instead of bad calls because they are cheaper when it comes to win rate.
Yeah, those are my favorite fish.
Makes
So
sense.
this guy is 3-betting us. He has a big 3-bet range. Early position with in-position jacks is 75% 4-bet. Let's see if we can make a size which is.
Hate this so much.
What
is he?
We're 4-betting 2x out of position.
Which board?
Bottom left. Yeah, I don't really like 4-betting jacks in general at these stakes. Is my personal opinion.
It's going to be indifferent. The thing here is if you don't do this, he can 3-bet you wider because you're not going to be 4-betting him enough, and he's going to get to realize his equity on his 3-bets better.
Yeah, but you need a huge sample.
So he can exploit you if you're not doing this.
Well,
now, is this random 25 NL player exploiting you for not doing it?
Absolutely not.
Probably not.
And you need a really big sample for that.
I don't mind just calling jacks here at all.
Yeah, even though
I don't mind just calling jacks here. I don't mind it. But if you are going to 4-bet, I just don't like the size. I hate the size.
Yeah, I'm just calling jacks every time at these stakes. I'm not 4-betting jacks here.
Fine.
4-bet is fine. Call is fine. Size is a touch too small, but it's fine either way.
Yeah.
Maybe he sized down because
under most assumptions, if the guy just always has aces or kings, then this is a punt. But
maybe he sized down because he's assuming that he might get 5-bet. But I don't.
If he thinks he's going to get 5-bet a lot because this guy just is very value heavy when he 3-bets, then just don't 4-bet to begin with. Call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, you need like, I don't even know. You need like over 1,000 hands on somebody to like make any assumptions on their 3-betting range.
Yeah, but you can play
No, you
without
can make them
assumptions.
earlier.
You can just play,
Yeah.
you know, according to GTO pre-flop ranges,
That's
which is
boring.
good.
Yeah, but I
Four
think
bet
You
type
missed
calls.
my whole. You missed
I
my
think
whole
he-
lecture in the general Discord today. I went off on this whole tangent about not playing Equilibrium and just trying to own souls all day.
Owning souls is
It
fine,
was-
right? But you got to start from some baseline in case you don't know how to own them, right?
Yeah, I just
Where's
don't
the
think
baseline?
Yeah,
that
my
value-
whole argument was when you know how people are playing and you know your assumptions, then deviate accordingly and own people's souls. That was
Yeah,
my goal
for sure.
there today.
I don't think this guy has like ace-5 suited in his 3-bet range. I don't think he has like, I don't even know. I don't think he has pocket 9s in his 3-bet range.
Pocket nines are indifferent at 500 and now at 50. Might even be a very low frequency 3-bet. But
Yeah, I don't like the 4-bet with the jacks at these stakes.
it's reasonable. I just want to go bigger
I think
from
it's
the
fine.
4-bet. That's the main point I was making. I think it's fine too. And everything's fine. Oh boy, spicy.
Now what do you do?
Well, now it's a fold.
Fold? Yeah, fold. One this size is gigantic in position. For a 5-bet in position here, this is gigantic. You have no fold equity, absolutely none.
No.
And you're probably behind his range of exactly aces.
He might be
So yeah,
thinking
fold.
he might be thinking that he saved money with that small 4-bet. I don't think it should be a 4-bet at these stakes. Period. But
You know, if you plug in the actual rake structure, I think it'll pure 4-bet jacks, to be honest.
yeah, I'm sure it will.
Just
Honestly,
because
probably,
taking a flop is going to be really expensive rake wise.
Yeah, no, I agree. But and that's the thing that sucks about jacks. It's like,
Isn't there something about there's no right way to play jacks? They all suck.
That video, oh, it's hilarious.
I haven't seen it in a while, but there's something about it.
Yeah, I'll send you guys that video. It's so funny.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fold, right?
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, this is a fold
for sure. Yeah,
Those sizes are
even if it was like, even if he
Six a jam to get him off of ace off kings. No, okay.
even if he 5-bet a smaller size, it's just like, I'm probably just folding it.
There's certain assumptions there behind folding it.
If he 2x'd the 5-bet, I would fold.
The 4-bet, you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
If you four,
oh yeah,
not
if he 2x'd,
odds, but
yeah.
pretty much getting odds to set line. But if he jams here, your main considerations are going to be: is he trapping aces pre as much as he should?
No,
And
no.
is he calling ace king pre as much as he should? Those are going to be your main two considerations. The more he jams ace king pre,
I think
the more
he
inclined you are
calls.
to call this off. The
Yeah.
more he jams aces pre, the less inclined you are to call this off.
I think he calls ace king and he jams aces.
Then yeah, fold to a jam.
What about kings and queens? Do you think he 4-bets
I
or 5-bets those?
think he calls queens and jams kings.
Okay.
I think that's
I
what
mean,
the
queen
average
should
player.
be a pure call and king should be a pure jam, pretty much here. Or do
I think
kings flat sometimes, Tom? I don't know.
Yeah. sometimes.
Yeah, they do. They do
In these
sometimes.
positions? Okay. Some
Um,
flatting with kings, pure calling queens.
I think that's what the average player is doing at these stakes. 9 out of 10.
If they're going to hard separate their value from their weekends, then actually like a 4-bet with jacks even more. Right? Like imagine they're
What
just
about min click for betting then?
well, they're still separating them from their calling range, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's true, but like,
Yeah, but if we're just trying to get an additional node for them to separate their strong hands from their not strong hands,
so the thing is
then why not just min click it so we don't give up as much money when they jam on us with their strong hands?
I don't
Well, he
think he
still wants
has.
some fold equity.
I don't think he has a ton of hands. I don't think he has a ton of hands that are folding to a 4-bet though. That's the thing. So you're not making. I don't think you're making much money from getting him to fold.
Plus, the way three betting too tight. That would also incentivize us to not four bet as much.
Yeah, I think he is three. I think in general, the average player at these stakes are three betting very tight. Like probably not even three betting queen jack suited or like king jack
suited. Is that ever a three bet?
Yeah.
Versus low jack. Jack 10 suited is a pure fold. Maybe some low free.
Queen
Yeah,
jack's
jack-
pretty low.
Oh,
King 10
I don't think.
higher
I don't
for
think.
sure.
Yeah, I don't think they're three betting king 10 suited. I don't think they're three betting king jack suited.
I don't know. It's up for debate.
Yeah.
But it's close. It's close regardless. Everything's close. It's always close.
Yeah. He's getting the tag.
He's getting a reg tag.
What they're doing.
Interesting.
Did he really leave because he thinks this tag is not paying him off?
So like I don't really tag regs. I just kind of like leave them.
Mistakes. I have to leave.
I don't know.
I thought Dark Blue was his reg tag.
Yeah,
He
I think
went
it
for a
is.
Gigantic 5-bet in position.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's.
He's got like
Getting a reg
50
tag.
shades of blue going on, so who knows what text
Yeah.
or what here.
I
You've
only.
got two, Tom. Come on, work on your
What's
eyes.
going on with this table?
I'm just kidding.
The tables are not. I mean,
This is also a pretty wide ISO with Jack 10 off here. Versus an under the gun limp without reads.
Yeah, I don't like it. But I like the ISO a little tighter, personally.
I could get behind that with reads, but he has no HUD sample on this guy, so this is the first hand he's ever played with him. Which
Yeah.
just seems.
I think it's a little loose.
he's obviously he is the fish.
I think Queen Jack is
His name
the bottom.
makes him have this tag already. Actually,
Depends on a few things, but yeah.
But yes, I do have to keep in mind he is a fish.
Are we playing three-handed top middle?
Oh, this is a
I guess
call
so.
94. It's 50%. Three bet, but now it's a call only, and it's an okay flop. Obviously, he bets big, which you shouldn't. But when you have a king,
What happened? He opened and he flatted.
Open button, we flat. I think it's fine with this guy playing 58% of hands. I also wouldn't mind just three betting this. You're gonna get called by king jack off, king 10 off. Being a bit more linear with your three bets makes a lot of sense when he's that wide.
Yeah, when you know it's a fish too, you could even see that small on this board to realize that.
Well, we didn't three bet. We can't. You're talking donk small.
Oh, what are you in the big line?
Yeah, we flat big blind versus.
Oh, I thought we were cut off.
No, we're playing three-handed because
Oh.
they're sitting out.
Yeah, I think a check raise is a little risky, but
Particularly versus a big C bet, which on this flop is kind of iffy.
yeah, I like the call.
Yeah.
Because I can hit a check as well.
Yeah, you could probably call again. You're not donking this? Are you guys donking this?
Versus a random fish.
Oh man, I'd be blocking it for sure. Probably like 33% size.
I don't mind it.
Oof.
Don't
Yeah,
mind it.
because I just want the value. I just
See that he has pocket eights in this double big barrel line on a monotone ace high flop. Then
I mean, I
I'm
just
kind of
don't
throwing
see
dodge.
him. I don't see him raising too often. Maybe he does. I'm not really sure. They do like to spaz out on these boards, but like
You don't. Yeah, you are the fish. That's
I
for
don't
sure.
know.
Doesn't
I think he missed out on value.
I like how his tag.
I wonder.
This is actually the point I was making about his notes being slightly misdirected. The takeaway when this guy double barrels pocket eights big on ace 10-3 monotone button versus big blind with no club is not that he doesn't three barrel bluffs. That's not the takeaway from this hand.
Yeah, it's just going way too thin.
Is that thin? I would have just gone for button clicking spaz who's betting any two cards on two streets. And I would have left him like that.
He's just playing club go burr. That's all there is to
I
it.
wouldn't.
He doesn't
Yeah.
have a club. He has pocket eights with no club.
I thought he had a club. What?
No.
No, he had no club.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then he is bluffing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
he
wouldn't
had
even-
13 of diamonds.
The fuck?
I wouldn't even.
Yeah, that's why I would say my note is not he doesn't triple barrel bluff. My note is he is a spaz who's betting any 2 cards down 2 streets.
I wouldn't even take a note on this because all fish in general like to spaz out on monotone boards. And I don't think a note is necessary.
This is a strange play. I note it.
I wonder if Escobar ever blocks the river in general.
I mean, likely in a lot of spots. We've seen some ginge bets today, so if he's doing it in position, he's got to do it out of position, right?
I don't
You
know.
missed me yelling at all of the ginge bets, Tom.
Yeah, very, very.
I don't think the fish is triple barreling without a flush, so I don't think you're ever getting value with that hand. Unless you're betting the river.
I'm folding. See betting this dry flop as well. He's not overfolding actually. Oh, that's a good turn for us to keep on going.
Overbet, overbet, overbet. Do it. Come on. Let's go. Queen 4. Sticking money. No. Oh, it pains me.
No, this is versus 2 people.
No, that's the king 3, but the queen 4
Oh.
is heads up, middle, top middle. Why aren't we barreling turn?
Man, 6 tables is way too many for a review. Like,
That's
2
what
of those.
yeah. And I think
Oh,
in
you
general,
guys can't see this?
I think in general, 6 tables is a little too much.
If you want, I can try to, like, cut this so you guys only see 4 of them.
No, it's fine.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah, but middle, okay, top middle, queen 4 of hearts. We open button, big blind calls. We see bet a third on the flop. He calls on jack deuce 3 2-tone. And turns 9, he checks. We have the backdoor flush draw and blockers as well.
Yeah. So the board calls for an overbet or check.
Yes,
This
overbet.
hand can
Do it.
certainly fit into an overbet bluff line. That's
Great
fine.
hand to overbet.
If you
why is
overbet,
that?
why is it an overbet board, or why is this
Yeah.
hand a bluff sometimes?
Why is it? Why is this hand overbetting the turn?
Mostly because you still have the range and nut advantage, and none of the draws have completed yet, but there are a huge abundance of draws out there.
So, what if you overbet and he calls? What are you doing on the river? Is it like mandatory
Jam.
bluff?
On a lot
Depends
of
on the
rivers.
river. Depends on the river, right?
Does
Like a
depend on the
non-
river.
like a
On lot of them,
non-diamond.
jam. What non-diamond though?
What about like a 5 or a 6?
5 or
Jamming,
6.
we block 4-5.
Certainly don't mind it with the 4 blocker. You are supposed to just give up a decent portion after you overbet, though.
So
Something
let's
like
say, let's
a good
say
The
third.
reason I do like this hand though is we have a lot of rivers we can jam this on with good blockers.
So what about like a king of clubs on the river?
Jam, we have queen 10.
Oh yeah, that's true. I didn't see that. What about like ace?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There are so many great rivers to jam on.
Yeah.
I think you can give up a lot on the river too. Like you don't have to jam,
Really? Hang on, let me check this. What is this? This is button versus big blind. Do I have a sim? I'm curious.
I feel like with it being queen high, I think it's like pretty essential that you're betting the river if you're betting the turn.
You don't need
Because
to always bet the river when you bet the turn here, but you do have a lot of good rivers to bet with this hand.
as opposed to like an ace high where you can just check and beat draws, but
well, an ace high I don't want to overbet too much anyway because it has showdown value. And if I overbet, then
No.
I'm mostly going to be
right,
just
yeah.
behind by the river, right? So I'd rather do it with like a queen high like this.
Yeah, I
We
just
also block queen 10, which is relevant as well.
True.
So this is the sim. It's slightly off. In the actual hand, the flop was jack suited to the deuce. This is jack suited to the 3, but it's still jack 3 deuce 2 times, so it's gonna be pretty close. So check, we see bet small, very reasonable, right? It's our main size on this flop. He calls turn to 9 of a brick suit. He checks. We play pretty much over better checks and small amount of 2/3, but mainly over better check. Queen 4 without the backdoor flush draw blockers in the flops. That's queen 4 of say clubs. Yeah, queen 4 of clubs is a good proxy here. Best proxy. Queen 4 of clubs is going to bet 45% of the time. So actually still mainly checking. Interesting.
Yeah, good mix. And then on a brick river after you've overbet?
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say overbet call, and then I'm gonna look at a river report for all rivers.
Like a 5 or 6. Oh yeah, that works too.
Hang on. Right now TV comparison hotness. I want to look at. Oh wait, no, this is the wrong node. Sorry, I need to click a juice here for this to work. Strategy. Give it a second. It shouldn't take too long. I have my sims saved without rivers, so it just needs to solve the river real quick.
Oh shit! I just realized how late it is. I don't got too much more time. I can't stay up like as late as I did last time.
Yeah, maybe.
Can just take a look at this one. Yeah. So this is our river strategy. Oh no, this is his river strategy. God damn it, I picked the wrong node. Sorry. I'm going to say this. There we go. So this is our river strategy on all rivers right after overbetting turn, and if I pick for one combo, say queen 4 of clubs.
Yeah, it looks like queen 4 is jamming sometimes there, right?
Oh, show for one combo on. Here we go. Yeah, so we're betting river on a deuce, a 3, a 5, a 6, a 7, an 8, a 9, a 10, a jack, a king, and an ace. That doesn't bring in a flush. So we're betting basically every single river that doesn't bring in a flush.
Even a jack, huh?
Even a jack. We also block queen jack suited, right? Yeah, we block queen jack suited. So on a jack, we're actually just jamming for the most part.
Yeah.
On a 10, we also jam. 10 river being great for us because we have king queen and they don't.
It's mostly just checking back when it hits a queen or a 4 by the looks of it.
It's checking back on a queen and a 4 and when a flush completes on some real nights.
Makes sense. Yep, makes sense.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But we're jamming pretty much everything else. That's why this hand is such a good turn barrel. We can just bet so much on the river.
So why this hand in particular? Like, what are the good characteristics about it?
I don't think
we have blockers on a ton of rivers. That is one main characteristic.
But I mean, queen 4, queen 5 is in there too, right? Queen 6, king 4, king 5.
Just because of the blockers?
Queen 4, queen 5 are pretty much the same hand, right?
Yep, queen 6.
Because of the blockers,
queen 6
right?
Still getting in there. Once we hit queen 7, still getting in there with queen 7. Yeah.
Huh.
Pretty much all of them. With the queen, it blocks queen 10, which is super relevant, right?
You have an overcard to the jack, which is important.
Well,
you do block a shitload of, you block some draws, you're going to get a decent amount of fold equity.
So it's really just the queen that's good.
Well, the 4 is also good in this case because you're blocking some of their draws. Combo draws and stuff. Like you block their raise.
Also a very high frequency raise on the turn.
So blocking that is valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting.
But it's just important to recognize this is an overbets check.
So what's the size on the flop?
A third.
Yeah, small and medium is fine.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
All right, I'll do another 10 minutes and then I gotta go. Sorry.
All right, sounds good. Oh, now we river a queen.
So now you just check it back, of course.
No, that's a value bet.
No, it's not. No way, man.
We checked turn.
What?
Yeah.
No, we did. Did we check turn?
Yes, I was the one that was screaming overbet. This is the value bet, Tom.
Oh, that goddamn nit.
I know, in a check line, it's river and top pair. Right, stick it in.
He has 0 flushes left in his range at this point.
Pretty much.
Okay, yeah, no, that's super, super nitty. You gotta bet that.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Even a small size or whatever.
On
Probably.
another note, I checked the solver, and this is actually a very high frequency check back, but forget that.
What?
In the sim, it's a very high frequency check back. Hang on, I'm going to run it to
In
a
the
higher
check
accuracy.
line?
Yeah, in the check line.
Zifuk?
It has this pure betting queen 7 plus, queen 6 high frequency bet, queen 5, queen 4 high frequency check. Apparently,
Yeah,
kickers matter.
I think if I'm betting here, I'm not going big. I think I'm going like maybe like half pot.
Hang on. I'll run the river with a few more sizings just to double check, but create some tree. Okay. Second, I'll keep playing while I do this, but I'm just gonna.
Look on the river too, how many different bluffs he's got to find that he's not gonna.
Yeah.
Can't tell off if we should bet the queen 4 too.
Oh wait, what up here? Sorry.
I said, well, look to how many bluffs he's got to find when we do bet the queen 4. Because most of the time, he's not going to find all those bluffs, which when you rerun the sim, when you know lock it, it'll change to we pretty much pure bet the queen 4 then.
Yeah, we can bet thinner if he doesn't bluff raise us
Excellent
sufficiently.
points. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he does. Not at these games.
Yeah, because he's got to find it. He's got to, in order to prevent you from betting too thin, he's got to bluff raise you off that sufficiently often and also trap often enough, right? Which is hard to do, which is why our natural instincts are to bet that there.
I mean, I think he could trap a flush or something, but like, I don't think he's ever bluff raising you.
Yeah, I can just. I'll rerun it real quick to a slightly higher accuracy. But yeah, if you rerun it to a bit of a higher accuracy, can I still share this? I'm showing the right thing. Oh no, I'm showing the right thing. Okay. Yeah, now it's become a bit of a higher frequency bet. It's going for half pod all the time when it does that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, and it's different between betting or checking, but that's under the assumption that he's check raising around 16% of the time. Is that it? 18% of the time. He's check raising 9x nearly pure.
That's not happening.
Check raising a ton of 9x. Or not nearly pure from queen 9 jack 9. Yeah,
you guys find that 10-9 check raise?
No.
The third pair?
Nope.
Not just that 10-9 check raise. 10-9, 9-8, 9-7, 9-6. Right.
These are things.
Oh, these are flushes. Never mind. These are flushes, but 10-9. Yeah.
You can right-click the spades to get rid of the flushes. On the right-hand side, underneath the bets.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. 10-9. 10-9, king 9. Yeah. King 3, 4-3.
So we're bluff raising hands with the blocker.
Yeah.
Straight.
Not just a blocker to the straight, but also the 9 is relevant. The reason we like bluff raising a hand like 10-9, one, the 10 is a blocker to the straight, which is good. It's not spectacular because most of our straight draws will barrel turn. But the 9 is really, really good because for one, we're never bluffing 9x on that river, right? So he's not blocking our bluffs that'll fold. And there's also the fact that he blocks 2 pair with that 9.
Yeah.
So that's also relevant, right? So the 9 is also a pretty spectacular blocker. Sets, well, 9's probably barrels turn a lot, but yeah, sets as well. Yeah, 9's actually barrels turn pure.
Fair enough.
But yeah, 2 pair. That type of hand.
Yeah, something I need to study.
Yeah. Jamming 9s were, what was this? 70 bigs deep.
Oh yeah.
Fine, right? Jamming 9s. Seems close.
Yeah, I mean theoretically it is, but I'm not doing that at these games.
I don't. I don't know enough about 70 big blind deep play.
I'm just folding the nines. Is that what he did? He jammed the nines?
He jammed.
Holy shit.
Jamming's reasonable.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Wait, what happened here?
Not at 25.
Okay, button
Open
opens
bet.
to 3.5.
Okay.
3-bet to 10.5 versus a 70 big blind deep player.
Right.
He 4-bets 3x in position.
Eh?
We have nines.
Eh?
Yeah, because I really don't want to call.
Yeah,
You
I'm
can't
not
call.
calling.
You can't
I'm
call.
not.
Jam seems fine.
I'm not jamming.
I think you can jam.
70 bigs effective, nines.
I mean, I think
it's close.
I think he does have some hands that we're ahead of. But like, I'm not.
It's not a value jam. But yeah, like you're not doing this for value.
It's
per
a
se.
fucking nines.
Well, you're doing,
to
yeah.
stack off at this stacked up, so
You're-
let's go.
Yeah,
Right,
this is you're gonna own some ace king, maybe ace queen suited, but
He might even have ace queen offsuit.
ace queen, sure, that probably folds, I would imagine. But
No, that's stacking off.
oh wait, it's this guy. Yeah. The problem with 3-betting this big is that you're really pot committed, so you either have to massively overfold to a shove, or you have to
Is it
start
really
calling
that
shit
big?
like ace queen. This
Is
is
it really
huge.
that
Look
big
at
for
he should min click 4-bet or just shove
him!
4-bet. Him, yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were talking about our 3-bet. Yeah, of course it's 4-bet
4-bet.
gigantic, it makes no sense.
It's
Yeah.
way too big. So the
of
way you
course.
punish this is by shoving more, right?
Yeah.
That's the main exploit, which is why I
You
want to
play
expand my
literally no calls and you play shove or fold.
Exactly.
Yeah, but what do you think this fish is for betting?
Ace queen, you know.
You think?
Oh yeah, for sure. Fish love ace X for some reason.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're for betting it, but
Ace
I don't know.
queen.
I mean, it's possible.
Like you're definitely gonna run into tens plus a decent chunk of the time when you shove.
Nines.
Wow, nines.
Or nines.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Chop it up.
You got a guy that's playing 41, 26, 18.
Oh yeah,
Hard to
just
say.
you guys let me know if this
Oh
is
yeah,
too
the
late.
stats. Uppy's got a point there. Look at the
Yeah.
stats. Look at the
100.
stats.
It's 100 hands.
It's still super
It's
fucking
still
wide.
significant, even though it's 100 hands. Like, we can make some generalization that he's going to err on the side of aggressiveness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't mind the
know.
stack
This
off.
guy's
at
a
all.
maniac for sure.
Okay, I wouldn't go so far as to call a 41% VPIP over 100 hands a maniac. That's reasonable enough to be in just a statistical distribution.
Okay, fair.
But possibly, very possibly a maniac.
I don't think it's bad. It's just my personal preference to just be in it and fold.
I think it's close. What happened with ace jack? We call a squeeze. Check flop, check attack. Okay, sure, yeah.
All right, guys, it's late. I wanna finish this out, but I really can't.
Yeah, this is a long one. Believe it or not, we've been going on 1.25 speed.
Yeah, I mean, I wish I could, but I really enjoy
No
these.
worries, Jar.
Yeah.
Well,
But
that's just the thing, too, when he's doing 6 table, he's always in a pot, so we don't ever have any stretch where we just play through it.
yeah, that's fine though. But all right, guys.
All right, see you next week, Jar.
Yeah, have a good one. I'll see you all next week. Have a good
All
night,
right,
guys.
JR. Take care.
Yeah, you too. Bye.
I'll hang out for another, I don't know, 5 minutes or so, and then I'll take off.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask, do we want to keep going or? All right. A few more minutes. Kings, 4-bet. Do we ever jam, or no, we just 4-bet and let the 51% VPIP whale make a mistake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good. No! God
What?
damn it. We folded King Jack off under the gun.
Okay.
It's probably fine in
Bit
this
tight.
rake structure, but
Bit tight.
yeah.
But, sure.
I'm just loose and spewy as hell, so every time I see something slightly tight, it kills me. Like, maybe to you, Tom, it's a bit tight, but to me, that's egregious. To me, a bit tight is
0.1 EV hand. What are you doing?
to me, folding King 9 off under the gun is a bit tight, right? Folding King Jack off is way off.
How do we get that ace king in on the top right?
We what? We 3-bet blind versus blind. He calls,
Okay. I assume you're checking this back.
and he donk jams.
Oh, the fuck?
That's how we got it up. There you go.
Okay.
What? Ooh, what are you guys doing here?
Versus this 40% VPIP whale who I just saw has ace-8 off with no club. Calling.
Is it the same guy?
It's
Yeah.
the same guy we got it in with the 9.
Oh,
Same guy.
Yeah. Then you have to call if it's that
Yeah.
guy.
Especially because we've seen the hand and he has ace-8 off. If he's jamming ace-8 off here, you just have to call. Right? Hindsight 2020. Not sure what happened with ace king on the bottom.
I'm not accepting his running multiple times either. Just reject and move on.
Wow. Okay. No respect.
He's dead. Let's just save the time to get another hand in.
You think he's dead? You have not run bad in a while, Uppy. He has a backdoor straight draw on the flop. To me, that's 100% equity. Alright, ace king, bottom left. I think we're just c-betting this every time. I don't like his check.
I agree with that.
Yeah, this was cut off limps. We ISO big blind. He calls.
First for 51, 8.
He's playing 51%. Yeah, he's limping. You're gonna get tons of folds on this flop. This is just gonna be so profitable as a c-bet. I almost want to bluff river with ace king. You're just getting so many folds from pocket fours and the like, but okay. Yes, that's also that's one that deserves a note. Good spot to take a note. It might sound kind of weird because I don't know how well you guys can hear me or hear him. So when I say something like that, it's kind of in relation to him just saying that he's taking a note.
Yeah, I can't hear him at all.
Yeah. Must just sound like me rambling. What do you guys do in this situation? Oh no, he's never mind. He's the 54% whale. Just
Yeah, but he's only raising 8%, so like I get it in, but it's gross because he's gonna have it here a lot.
I mean, this was he limps under the gun. Hijack ISOs. We 3-bet hijacks ISO. He basically jams.
Yeah, this sucks, but I'm not folding ace king suited, so.
All right, stick it in and show his aces.
Yep.
Sixes. There
He'd
you
had
go.
enough of us.
And we're behind.
Yeah. Cat there.
Hey.
God damn Zlatan, running like a god. I don't. Okay, this is again. Yeah, Tom. The reason we've run this so late is because we started off with a round of 45-minute discussion on what assumptions you need to oversee bet flop.
Okay.
We had a long discussion about under check raising, leading to you being able to see bet more aggressively.
Okay, hold on.
As a default,
Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say as a default, I don't like c betting king queen off here on a7-5 cutoff versus big blind. It just doesn't make much
Yeah,
sense.
no,
to
king
use
queen
that.
feels like a pure check back here, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, definitely an equilibrium, a pure check back. Maybe if he's under check raising, you could see bet it, but like it is a pure check back. The snap c bet is also a bit telling.
Wonder if that's the spot where if we do see bet, we just go for the 3 barrels because a lot of his range is weak aces. If he had ace jack, they probably snaps us off there, but
Potentially. Yeah. But still, I think just playing it as a check as a default is going to be pretty reasonable. I don't like checking down this jack high. Top right table, blind versus blind. We're versus somebody who's wide pre, and we have a huge range advantage.
Double paired boards are kind of finicky.
At equilibrium, I think this is pretty close, and this might even be a check down. Although, is this flop just a range c bet? It might just be a range bet flop here. Even blind versus blind. It's king and deuce ring, but likely is.
High frequency bets anyway.
Yeah.
Check, 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 check. Honestly, it's really hard to represent any real hand, any real.
Oh no,
value
yeah,
here.
the equilibrium.
So,
This is probably just a check down, but I think versus player.
what do you like? Like a half pot bet? Or
Sure.
like an overbet?
I think half pot's fine.
I think you get called by a fuckload of ace-x, but
I think
this guy's also
every single ace high, but he's so wide pre too.
I think the way to punish this was the bet earlier.
I would have definitely preferred c bet and flop. 100% agree.
Yeah, don't exploit on the river here. I mean, exploits earlier.
Makes sense.
You know, range
This just
bet.
has to be a range bet flop. Just has to be. Yeah. Check call and get him to give you some money with his pocket fours. Go for an option. And he pots it. Call.
Oh.
No.
Okay. Whale shit. Whale shit.
I wouldn't have minded calling, honestly.
Okay, 15 against. Looks okay.
Yeah, seems fine. 3x open, flat. We're out of position versus both. 15 seems fine.
Looks good.
Yeah.
You like a flat here in the small blind if it folds too?
Versus this guy, yeah. No.
Oh, brutal. Brutal.
Even playing out of position versus 2 players. Guy's a whale. Over 11 hands. Huge sample.
Yeah, and he opened 2 big blinds, so I really just
Yeah.
want to call that, especially with someone else flatting, because you're going to retain equity well, even against their.
How much more are you incentivized to flat there with somebody else calling, even when you're out of position?
Depends on their calling range, I guess.
Yeah.
But typically, like a pocket pair of suited connector is going to retain equity well, even as you add more players.
Yeah.
Because you're not dominated,
Agreed.
and your pot odds improve without your equity dropping much. So I just want to call more.
Makes sense. Yeah. Also, if the big blind here has pink colors in knit, the guy's playing a 3% 3-bet. It's not like you're going to get squeezed all that often.
Is he pink? I thought it was blue. The Oob one?
Oob one, yeah, he's pink.
I don't know, man. They all look blue to me. Eddie looks blue on table bottom right.
Eddie is blue.
Okay. That's different color from Oob.
Sorry, I can't visualize it. I'm sorry, Tom. I don't mean to laugh.
I don't get it, man. I don't understand. He's got like every player at every table marked, which is just incredible.
Yeah, it really is. To be fair, he does tag pretty quickly. I mean, the guy got a station tag for calling down second pair on the river versus a bet check bet.
A very liberal tagger.
Yeah, it's very liberal tagging, exactly.
All right, I'm getting pretty tired, so I think I'm going to take off.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah, I better take that too. I gotta be up in like 5 hours.
Makes sense. Then we should then end it here before I start talking to myself all the time.
All right, good reviewing with you guys.
All right, was fun.
Thanks,
Till
everybody.
next time.
See you guys.